You said that you love winning. What drives you more, the love of winning or the hate of losing?
Maybe equally, maybe both. I don't like losing, and I do like winning.
Say his name and he appears.
This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Winning 2024. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you're all doing and living well. First, let me thank all of those YouTube members who help keep the channel going. Names are scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. And a special thanks to Shelly and Wolfram, who also support the channel over on Rumble. We are, of course, broadcasting live tonight on YouTube, Rumble, and X. And I appreciate each and every one of you that help support this channel on those platforms, especially the free speech platforms as well. Say something. All right. Remember, if you're new here, please hit thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm, helps get us out there because we are very shadow banned because we speak the truth here, the base truth, and nothing but the base truth. And also, huge night tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun, some good reports coming in, and we're gonna close up tonight with a town hall with Elon Musk, a rare kind of thing we're going to check out. He's doing these town halls now. I think it would be very interesting to see what he has to say. We'll watch some of that. It was broadcast earlier today from Pennsylvania. All right. So as people start to roll in here, I will be greeting you and telling you hello. First of all, hello, Wolfram. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Thank you for posting these links. Remember why you're here and wherever you're at. Please listen to the Wolf. He knows what he's talking about. Always do that. And he wipes his paws, lopes in a house. And also thank you to Heidi, although I can't put your comment up on the screen, for saying nice to see everyone. Remember to hit the thumbs up and the bell when you come in and the subscribe, because that's how you're going to know when we go live. Right on. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to sit here and we're going to hang out and talk for a minute. And I'm going to tell you about some upcoming events here. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff indeed. You will totally be awesomely thrilled to hear this news that I have to bring to you. And then we're going to cover our election 2024 topics. We're going to go through some basic election topics. And then we'll get into Rig Watch and also border crisis news. These are the two things that are really dominating right now. So you're going to see a lot more of this stuff as we get closer to the election. I hope those of you who can vote early have voted. And let's go ahead and start getting that win in the bag. Hey, Lex, how you doing? Welcome to the show. And yeah, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. And thank you for supporting the channel. All right, and let's see, as we come in here, let's see where we at here. Waiting for a few more folks, because man, do I have some big news, guys. Big news like you wouldn't believe. It's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind. It blew my mind. And you know, guess if you work hard enough and you wish hard enough, that something good happens, and that something good happened today. So you guys stick around, because I'm going to be announcing this very shortly. But first of all, remember, for 18th month, our solution architect in the crowd. Here's the 1.5 awesome years here. So proud to be in the soup with you, sweetie. Thank you. And right back at you. I couldn't do it without you. That's for sure, Shelly. That is for sure. You are one of a kind. And you can subscribe to Shelly right there at Talking Trash and Truths on YouTube and Rumble and Twitter, or X, or Twitter, X Twitter, whatever you want. And make sure you subscribe to her. She deserves more subscribers and more views and people in her live chats, because she does great stuff. She really does. Good afternoon conversations with Shelly. And I tell you what, for the people who go there and are part of that, thank you. And they know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm talking about. So I hope the rest of you will also. And hey, guys, we need to get her to rumble over 100, man. It's like it's been lingering where it's been lingering for a long time, and I know she had to move and a lot of stuff's going on, but man, let's really help her out. So if you think about it and you have time, make sure you stop by her Rumble channel and let's help get that channel going too, because that's where the free speech is happening, as well as out there on X. But yeah, Rumble especially, we really need to get Rumble far beyond where it is today. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, we got people rolling in here. I want to make sure my local crowd here, my front row seats, all get to hear this announcement. That's why I'm kind of delaying it for just a second, because I want to make sure everybody gets in here for that. And I do have another special announcement coming up regarding line in the sand and the border crisis epidemic that's going on. We're going to have a special presentation tonight, an interview between James O'Keefe and the Hodge twins on their podcast, the Twin Podcast, where he goes through a lot of details on the movie, talking about it and so on. And I'm trying to get people really excited to see this because it is a powerful documentary. I have seen it and I will give a review on it as well. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do with that, because we got a special operation that you guys will all be involved in. Hippie stuff. What's up? Good day from down under. Shout outs to Aussie Guru and Gaza Daza Baza. Hey, how you doing? I love a good entrance. I love a good entrance. Hippie stuff. Hippie stuff. Good to meet you. So happy that you're here. Welcome to the crowd. Welcome to the crowd. We're just in time for some big news today. I'm getting ready to announce, and we're going to head into our election 2024 topics after that, and then our special presentations in Undercover at the southern border, and a town hall with Elon Musk from Pennsylvania. Oh wow, too sweet, made you cry. So happy you guys are here. Well, we are gearing up here, and I hope everybody out there is doing well. Hoping to get a few more people in here for this announcement. It doesn't matter, because this announcement is going to blow everything out of the water. I mean, it's literally going to blow everything out of the water. Like you wouldn't believe. Like it is going to blow everything out of the water like you would not believe. It's that big. It's that big. It's that big. It is that big. Yeah, I'm building the excitement for the big announcement here. Right. I know a few more people. Give them a few minutes to get here. That's why we chit chat here for a minute while people come rolling in. And I want to make sure everybody knows. But you know what? Once it happens, once this special event happens, there's no going there. We're gonna soar. We're gonna soar with this one. That's for sure. it is that big, spicy winning. Yes. Indeed. All right. So here we go. I can't wait any longer. Here is the big announcement that's happening. So you guys know that I have been one of the, that I seek out and find and only play the base content here, man, based in reality. That is a winning reality. But I always look for very base creators to work with, to talk to analyze their takes, to include their content, to promote their channels, all that stuff. And I put together a good series of information every week for you guys. I stream 5 nights a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays, the Winning 2024 show. Sundays, Old School Watch Party Sundays. We watch a documentary and a movie. That's me and Shelly and I. Let me make sure I get that right. Shelly and I. Yes, phrasing is important. That's Talking Trash and Truth. We do that show together. We've been doing that for over a year, bringing you highly informative documentaries from the old school and to the new. And also we watch a good fun comedy movie from the old school and kind of the new sometimes, back to back. It's a great night of fun and education together. And then on Mondays, I do Unrig the Game, where we do listening parties for audiobooks, right? And we are on our 4th book. The current book is called Big Intel by J. Michael Waller. It is a phenomenal book, giving us the background on how our intelligence agencies became corrupted and the driving force behind that corruption, cultural Marxism. And we're learning so much from that book. And a lot of people out here in the crowd are reading that book with us. and man, is it informative. I can't say enough good things about it, and I encourage each of you to watch it with us, listen with us, and to or listen to it on your own, and just listen to the book. And I have a playlist over on Rumble where you can get caught up if you're behind. Really easy to do. Just go to my Rumble profile. And speaking of which, I need to put those links in the chat so you know where that is. And in the description, it's already in the description. But let me go ahead and grab the X link here and throw that in the description, and I'll paste it into the chat in just 1 second. Hey, there's T-Rex Trucking. He's here for the big announcement. He can't wait. He's all excited. There you go. I always have to shorten it. There we go. Pinned up. All right. So that's where you can find me on the free speech platforms right there. Okay. And so that Sunday and Monday, we do a kickoff show here, and then we leave YouTube after about an hour, and we just we have to do that content exclusively on Rumble and X. So make sure that you have those links pinned, and that you are subscribed and hit the notifications on those channels as well. All right. So like I said, and then on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, I do Winning Saturday Night, which is the good news of the week, funny videos. It's a laid back show. We have a lot of fun. And that's our laid back night, just to chill out and get some laughs in and listen to some good news and all that fun stuff. And then from time to time, I do a Wednesday night show called Unveiling Reality, where it's a specific topic that is very important in terms of understanding how the world works around us, unveiling the truth about matters, and also going over the real work going on in this channel, which is understanding the modern veils of perception that we're under today, the modern day veils of perception, how they work, and how the people that rule over us and try to dominate us and want to control our future and steal our reality from us and implement their own horrific evil reality, how they work and how that all works. And it's a decades worth of work. It's decades worth of work put together into an understandable format. And it follows the lines of, if you want to know about information-based mind control, how mind control works in that fashion, why so many people are under this spell these days and cannot see outside of the cage that they're in, that's the show for you. I'll also talk about solution culture, where we talk about how to undo their cycle of control by undoing their cycle of abuse. And that has a lot to do with how they are able to continually dominate us and divide us and keep us in this state of fear and confusion and get their way constantly. And we have to stop the losers from winning, right? We need the winners winning, and that's what we're here to do. All right. All right. Hey, check it out. Stop the scrotes in the book. Sink the boat. Yes. Good day, man. Good day. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Hashtag stop the scrotus in the sink. Hold on. Stop the scrote, sink the boat. I like, okay. Got it. Okay. I had to think about that for a second. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much. All right. So now that we're here, we got a good crowd in the house. I want to make sure that you guys hear the special announcement. So like I said, 5 days a week, I'm trying to put the best content together for you from the best creators out there and add my media analysis to that as well. Memento Mori is here. Perfect. All right. You're just in time. So one of those creators that I like to highlight is Gary Franchi of the Next News Network. So today, after I wrote a letter, an email to him, he responded and we got in touch and we've been talking, and we have now set a date for him to come on to the show. Yes, Gary Franchi of the Next News Network will be here October 29th for a very, very special Winning 2024 show. So this interview is going to be huge. Gary's been doing this for decades now. He was part of the Ron Paul revolution. We're going to have plenty to talk about there. He's got a huge show on YouTube, which unfortunately is YouTube does not treat very well, though he still has huge crowds. And the way that we're going to do it is this. I'm going to go live a little bit later that night. We're going to get our election topics and everything out of the way early. And then when his show is over, he'll be coming on here for an interview with me, where we'll be covering all kinds of topics ranging from, you guys have heard me talk about these topics that I've been wanting to talk with Gary about, right? Of course, we're going to touch on the Ron Paul revolution, what we were both doing during that time. Gary had a super PAC. He was a big part of trying to get the revolution funded. I was out there with my army of online warriors, promoting Ron Paul liberty, trying to use strategy to get people to see through the veil, to understand the false left-right paradigm that we have been born into, and how Ron Paul was here to break that. Also getting ahead of all of the Republican nominees, getting people to understand what their true roots were, how they were neocon rhinos, and that none of them were a real choice. Also protecting patriots from falling into conspiracy groups and other people out there that were trying to suck us down and discredit us into these rabbit holes, like Drake Kent Bailey, who was the original Q. A lot of people don't realize that. I did a stream on it, but he was the original Q. My group uncovered that and put a stop to it. So, and then he, Drake helped us by insisting that aliens were helping him. That was a good one. We didn't see that coming, but he already had so many people listening to him at that point. Some people were already under his mind, his type of information-based mind control. But he was the original one. He came. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's 4chan trolls who started Q had taken parts of his. That I knew there was a similarity there. And I was like, I kept hearing his old rhetoric and the new rhetoric from coming out of this board. And I was like, that's Drake. That's Drake. That's Drake. Yeah. So that's what my group was doing at the time. Gary was doing, he was doing super PACs, and he was out there speaking on behalf of Liberty rallies and the early Tea Party rallies. The Tea Party rallies, this then went away because the neocons infiltrated those. So Ron Paul disassociated himself from that. But at the Ron Paul rallies themselves, Gary was a big part of helping that happen. So he'll be here. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Trump 2024, MAGA, what to expect, what to do, and what to come after that. We're going to talk about Agenda 2030, and we're going to talk about new media and how we can avoid becoming the old media by getting away from their psychological tactics and other things that have driven that media for so long. He's the perfect person to talk about it because he's been in media, in new media, longer than a lot of these people that are out there that are getting the big pushes out, that have the big shows. Gary's been doing it for much longer. So this is a big event coming up. October 29th is the date. And like I said, we'll be going a little bit later that day. We'll do the topics, and then he'll be jumping in, and after he redirects his crowd over to here. So, yeah, that's going to be a huge night. That's just one big announcement I have tonight. So thank you guys so much for all of the, yay. All right, cool. Woohoo. Yes. It's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. Have you ever heard of LTC, Ricardo Basse? He says he is Australian's representative to the U.S. White Hats and Space Force. I think he's a scammer, by the way. To be honest. Okay. No, I haven't heard of him. That's probably why I tend to block out the scammers and the grifters. But keep an eye on them. Expose them, man. Expose them. Don't let them get away with grifting your people. I tend to listen to what the one person from Sky News, that who's that? What's that? T3. What's her name? Quick search. He says he founded the Australia One Party. Interesting. We have another Australian that comes and joins us from time to time. His name is Madcore, and he's around. Hopefully, maybe he'll stop in now that I said his name. But Madcore is a good friend, old friend, and we love it when he's here. He's got his own base take on things as well. Never heard of him. Okay. Did you see the link I posted regarding the elections winning? Where did you post it? Did you post it in the Discord? Let's see. Is that it right there? See something? There's two links. Which one is it? I don't know which one which one it is. Let me see. Liberal Hive Mind. Disqualify. Yeah, that should be in Rig Watch. If it's not, I'll just put it right there next to it. I did want to check that one out. So we'll look at the Clem Beck one. Did I have it in there? It may be buried, man. I have so much news. Let me see. Explained. No, it wasn't in there. So I'll add that to the list. We'll look at that. All right, cool. All right, second announcement coming up. Second announcement. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to save the second announcement for when we do the Undercover at the southern border with O'Keefe and the Hodge twins interview, right? I'm gonna save the second announcement for that. It has to do with that, right? So that's the second announcement coming up tonight. But you won't want to miss it because you're going to be hopefully involved in that, each and every one of you. And hopefully by the time we go through all this stuff, you'll understand why. So stick around, don't go anywhere, buckle in. We're gonna have a great night. Let me go ahead and get our first piece of election 2024 news up. Everybody is talking about this right here. Hold on, make sure I got it right. Nope, that's not the one. Well, this actually is some stuff that everybody's talking about. But let's see, do I have the second part to this ready? All right, I'm gonna get the second part ready. We're gonna watch the first part right here. This is about when Kamala went on the Breakfast Club and other things that have been going on with this tour that just doesn't seem to work out for her because she's not very good at what she's doing. See, I've heard of Ricardo. He doesn't behave like someone you'd want being a national representative. You want someone like Derek, help me with that word, Balo, or Darren Bergwolf. Werf. Yeah. Interesting, man. Hey, I'm all about understanding that we need to come together with other countries as well. We need to find, and I've said this many times. I talked to our friends from Canada as well. We have friends from Canada. I'm always like, who's your guy? Who's the base guy out there? Who's your Trump? Who's the one that is going to put Canada first or Australia first, right? Because Australia has been under attack for years, man. And I feel for you guys. I really do. I really do, man. Australia is an awesome place full of awesome people. And I really want you guys to live free too. And man, you got China breathing down your neck like people wouldn't believe, man. China, I mean, at the end of the day, China wants Australia. They want to own that whole side of the world, right? They want that whole coastline for themselves. And they are doing everything they can to at least politically co-opt Australia in many ways. Not to mention that Australia is firmly under the control of the globalist agenda 2030 and so on. So I keep you guys in mind. I know that we have to take care of our problems here first. We have to get the corruption out of our system so that we can help other people. But I foresee a day where if everything goes right, we'll be able to reach out and help the rest of the world rid themselves of this globalist issue and the infiltration of cultural Marxism into their societies. It's going to take some time. You guys hang in there and keep fighting and keep being as tough as I know you are. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But it starts with us getting our act together. Because if we don't get our act together here, we can't help the rest of the world. And we're the last bastion right now of freedom and liberty on a scale that where everybody else should have it. Australians should have true freedom of speech. They should have true rights, God-given birthrights. They deserve to have this, and they're under the thumb of the elitists, just like most of the world is, in one form or another. We got to get that taken care of, and we got to get that mind virus known as cultural Marxism out of the world, man. We have to put that evil ideology into the grave. It needs to go. I mean, that is behind so much, guys. That's why I keep stressing. I know I'm wearing Thomas out with my stressing of the Big Intel book, but man, I'm just excited about it because you're learning so much about the history of cultural Marxism and how it's been behind everything evil in terms of wrecking the beautiful free countries. Our true leader is David Guru Graham. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on David Guru Graham. I'm going to keep an eye on him now. Thank you for putting that on my radar. Thank you. Let's see. Funny, she went on Charlemagne, who's who is one of the jokes in that part of the hip hop industry. Oh yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Oh, no worries. You're all good. Yeah, man, that's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge. I cannot wait to actually get to sit down and talk with Gary. He's really cool. We had like a nice conversation over text today. He was surprised to see that I was covering his content. He's like, I'm looking at one of your videos and boom, there I am. I'm like, yeah, I only use base creators, man. And I can depend on you to give a base take on things, you know. I know where you come from, and I've been, watching for a very long time. As long as I've been watching this guy right here, Mark Dice. Let's get into this.
Because the Operation Mockingbird AstroTurf media campaign that launched Kamala Harris's presidential campaign has thankfully failed to convince the majority of Americans that she's the most qualified person to be president ever. In large part, they're finally reluctantly doing interviews and allow the American people to actually hear directly from her instead of from the media about her and painting this false portrait of how amazing she is. Now they've gone back to playing their greatest hits and talking about how Donald Trump is a dangerous fascist dictator 24/7. Brian Stelter will weigh in on the issue, no pun intended, and so will Rachel Maddow doppelganger Mark Cuban. But first, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, because if you found this video, it's a miracle, because my channel's been shadow banned for years. But if you want truly independent content from an old
Is Mark Cuban wearing earrings? What is that?
OG YouTuber, subscribe here now and check back on a regular basis.
They're making a bet here. Pretty straightforward bet. He and the Trump campaign believe that kind of thing, fear and bigotry, is going to win them the election.
That's just complete mind control right there. I mean, that's just complete mind control. They get away. Look at this guy. They get away with this lying and putting words in his mouth. And they're using, like, look at that. Make sure he looks like he's shouting at people. Yeah. And at no time has he ever said he's going to use the military against people. This is a blatant lie. They should be sued into oblivion for this.
That's the bet of this fascist campaign. It's a war on truth, on the people who tell truths. It promises a violent ultimate victory over.
They're always projecting. Evil always inverts everything.
Every perceived enemy of Donald Trump's, using the power of the state, invoking the voice of the people against the stab in the back. And he's running neck and neck in the polls with the sitting Democratic vice president.
Because
the sitting establishment puppet, yeah.
Half the
That's a shame. He shouldn't be.
More,
he should be way ahead.
Understand that you are a complete liar. Here she is on a black radio show yesterday, desperately trying to win the black vote back to the Democrat Party. Said she is so repulsive that they're either not going to vote or they're joining the Trump train.
Donald Trump.
Was that a Freudian slip? Because there are rumors and concerns that she has a little problem, a maladjusted coping mechanism, dealing with all the stress of being a DEI hire who's way in over her head.
Donald Trump would go into the Department of Justice and manipulate it in such a way.
That's exactly what they've done. And he was in there for 4 years already. He didn't do that. So what are you talking about?
Way that it would be used as a weapon against his political enemies.
Yeah, he's going to lock y'all up if he gets back in office.
Well, by the way,
he's going to lock y'all up if he gets back in office, says Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, he's going to lock y'all up if he gets back in office.
Well, by the way, you should look at his words. I don't think that you
see her slip into that right there. He's going, hey, Verby, what's up? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Dude, they are so okay with lying and being hypocrites and inverting reality. It's so hard. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Heidi. Gaslighting 101 right there on display. She is so good at psychological warfare. It's not even funny.
You as a journalist should feel so sure that
100%.
Journalists, judges.
Yeah, Donald Trump's going to lock
You're out of here? I hope so.
Up this black radio host if he wins.
And you know who does that? Dictators do that. Other countries do that.
Oh, America.
You guys do it.
America would never do that under the Democrat leadership, right? The old bags and the View are equally delusional and are concerned that Donald Trump will throw them in jail if he wins.
I was watching interviews with MAGA supporters. They do not believe that he will do what he says he's going to do. That is what we're up.
Oh, no.
Hold on. Me first, Mark. Did you? Hold on. These people, man. She goes, they don't believe he's going to do what he says he's going to do. No, we actually do believe he's going to do what he says he's going to do. It's just that you are saying things that he didn't say. That's the difference there. But their audience is if anybody watches The View and is like, this is the ultimate truth, they're under mind control.
We are hoping that he will do what he says he's going to do.
Against
deport them all and build a wall.
So if you say he's going to be dictator on day one, he wants to punish with.
See, there she goes. That's a lie. I mean, everybody knows he was joking about that, right? Everybody knows he was joking when he said that. That's why you can't just, it's hard to joke around with people like that out there, because they'll take you and they'll soundbite you and they'll tell everybody that's what you mean. And they'll say it with a straight face because they're completely useful idiots.
With the Air Forces, whatever we have.
The Air Force is coming to get you.
The armed forces. He wants to punish people who disagree with him, like people like us. Okay, and they say, "Oh,
no, dude. What we're gonna do is we're gonna wake people up, and people are just gonna tune you out because you're not worth listening to, right? You know, all you are is subversion and propaganda.
Oh, he's not going to do that." So it's very hard for us to talk to these people because they refuse to believe. And I guess they're hearing it on Fox.
Yeah, you know, it's actually harder to talk to people that believe in your show because they are boxed into a narrative and they don't see the walls that they're living in. You've abused them through information and subversion and psychological tactics to the point where it's a belief system for them now. And you know, when you try to talk to somebody about their belief system, or you say something that offends their belief system, they go into the denial reflex, right? They go into a denial reflex where they're going to try to argue with you. And then when they realize they don't have anything but stupid talking points coming from idiots like this, right? They'll then go into anger, the next stage, and they'll go into a fight or flight mode. And then they'll either start calling you names and using fallacies against you, or they'll just run away and plug their ears. Heidi says, "Look at yo dang self, honey. Queen of narcissism." Yeah, that's from the last one. Yeah, Comic-Con. Yeah, definitely. I caught that on the Fox interview when she said that Trump would send the military after citizens. I was like, oh, fuck, that's what they're planning if she wins, right? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they got all kinds of things up their sleeve. We're going to do a special report here later on about that with Ron Paul coming out and a warning about this thing kind of get slid into legislation about using military force against civilians, which I don't think our military will do, at least not the based ones. But at the same time, specifically talking about things at the polls on election day. So we'll get to that later on the show. Here we go.
Yes, Joy, he's going to use the Air Force to punish the women on The View.
In terms of the targeting that he is talking about for a second term, and what we saw in his first term when he picked out individual businesses or sometimes individual business leaders who he wanted to use the government to punish, when he went after Amazon and Jeff Bezos, when he went after saying he wanted to go after Mark Zuckerberg, when he did other things that were targeting businesses because of what were perceived to be his political interests, I would have thought that would have made him radioactive in the business world, because business people are too smart to think that they can always be on the right side of those calculations, right? That they won't ever be the one who's in the crosshairs once you've got somebody who uses the government that way to reward and punish his enemies.
That's exactly what. God, I hate these people. God, they're so frustrating, you know. And this idiot sitting there, is that her twin? They look like they're twinsies. Sitting there, but man, most of these corporations, as you say, if you go down the membership list of the World Economic Forum, are in the pockets of the globalists. That's why they don't speak out, right? And
his friends.
Well, you don't hear a whole lot of CEOs other than Elon Musk, particularly of large companies, coming out and supporting him for that very reason.
No, it's because they're part of the WEF. I mean, go look at the membership on their website. Everything, they spell everything out for you. I cover the WEF exclusively and Davos 2024 every year. Every year Davos, I cover it, and because what they're saying is what they're doing, and they're the ones driving the bigger agenda, right? Corrupting, dividing, collapsing the country. That's the political agenda here. But there's a bigger agenda working behind the scenes in parallel construction, right? They're building it in parallel. That's going to replace what we have as soon as everything here is destroyed.
No, the reason is because you in the media, you liberal lunatics, have made it toxic to publicly support Donald Trump. You have made it dangerous to publicly support Donald Trump. So the CEOs who do, and there are many, are keeping their mouths shut.
You know, you don't hear them condemning him because they're worried about his retribution or his vengeance.
That's the stupidest thing ever. No, they're beholden to the WEF. Just go look at it.
But literally, there's been nobody that I know other than Elon that has come out in support of him.
Actually, Mr. Mr. Cuban, Mark Zuckerberg isn't even endorsing old Joe this time around, and had some quite positive things to say about Donald Trump recently.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes...
well, I don't know about that. We're going to take a look at that here in a minute, but he did say some positive things about
not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, I mean, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I mean, the historic events over the weekend. And I mean, on a personal note, it's You know, and
This
seeing
is
Donald Trump get
a little bit
get
older
up after
interview.
getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, I mean,
it's actually something we shouldn't forget, and it certainly is suspicious that the media just sweeps those instances under the rug after a day and pretends like they never happened. They're so desperate to try to paint Donald Trump as a dangerous dictator now with 3 weeks till the election that Operation Mockingbird asset Bob Woodward has a new book out full of inside sources warning about the dangers of Donald Trump.
Where Mark Milley calls Trump a fascist. You've read
Mark Milley is incredible.
the book. Can you put this in some context for us and give us some idea of all that is in the book named War? You're seeing it there.
That's right. This book is largely about the Biden administration, but the headlines about Trump really stand out. Mark Milley, Trump's former Joint Chiefs Chairman, is
He was fired for being incompetent and being woke.
using Bob Woodward to send a message, and a chilling message. On page 179 of his book, you know, part of the quote is being publicized in recent days, people talking about it, Milley calling Trump a fascist to the core. The other part of the quote is also really striking. Milley also says to Woodward, we have got to stop him. You have got to stop him.
Milley is one of the people that lied to the commander-in-chief. Saying that troops were out of places that they weren't.
Woodward says the you is referring to the American press writ large.
Joy Reid, the angry black woman and black supremacist on MSNBC, is surprisingly upset with black people, with black men, because, as you know, many of them.
We are getting ready to have a 101 course in cultural Marxist language. Get ready. Here it comes.
Are not supporting camel face.
Have you noticed how sharply the polls have shifted in Trump's favor over the last couple weeks?
Yep.
With these claims that Trump is surging with black and Latino voters and leading in every single swing state, according to secret internal polls.
According to numerous polls, actually.
Despite all the Hitler talk. Yes, this race will be far too close. Because unfortunately,
despite all the Hitler talk, again, trying to overwrite archetypes with archetypes of evil by drawing the comparison, right? By drawing the imagery in people's minds to put one thing next to another until they blend together.
Fortunately, we do have a fascist groundswell in parts of this country, mainly.
Yeah, it's called the Democratic Party.
Among white men, let's be clear.
Oh, yeah, let's be racist. Yep.
But in small pockets among black and brown men, too. This happens to be a global.
No, the Trump support is vast, and that's why she's freaking out.
Phenomenon.
The black and brown white supremacists.
Global phenomenon.
As women become more economically independent and seek positions of power.
Oh, yeah, it's about sexism. See how she shifted there? Divide, 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 divide. It's all about division. It's all about oppressed versus oppressor, right? That's the cultural Marxism. Now that you know how that works, right, you can see it in everything.
Oh, so they're sexist. They're all sexist. I mean, what's next in a desperate attempt to try to win over black voters? Is Kamala Harris going to credit black people with coming up with the Constitution? Oh, wait, what's this?
The Constitution of the United States, the Fourth Amendment, which protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures.
Which you have basically eliminated.
The Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and he's going to terminate the Constitution of the United States?
Again, a blatant lie. A blatant lie. When is he ever? He's the constitutional president. It's the establishment that wants to do with the Constitution. It's in the way. It's in the way, right? That's how they subvert it. That's why they sign over our sovereignty to globalist organizations and agendas and treaties.
Which in most of those amendments, one thing or another was about a movement spurred by black people to ensure that we would be equally protected under the law.
What's she talking about? Is she talking about BLM that's been exposed as a Marxist organization? Is she talking about BLM who ripped off everybody, who stole money, whose founders took the money and ran? Are you talking about BLM that was based on a lie, that was founded on a lie? There was never any hands up, don't shoot. That was all a lie. This is part of the Obama deception right here. And she's still carrying on like it's real. They'll keep saying lies over and over and over again. They're hypocrites, and they also think that people are too stupid to go look things up for themselves.
Law? Come on.
Black people built this country. We was kings, yo. And of course, she's now campaigning on the idea that we should just
the whole idea, the whole idea too, right? There was a time when in history, before all that, before slavery and everything else, it was called the founding of the country, the discovery of the country, right? Then we had to live here for hundreds of years trying to maintain our foothold in this country, right? Expanding in this country, building in this country, right? We did all that without slaves. We did that all with our own hands. And then we had to fight a tyranny called the British Empire to free ourselves, to have the land of the free, the home of the brave, to have our God-given rights given back to us. You know, we had to fight that war. Then we had to hold on to the land past that war. All that bloodshed, all those people that died, that lived out in the cold with nothing, that starved, that blazed a trail for the rest of us so that we have this great country today. They're all forgotten. It's just the slaves that built the country, according to people like that, who want to use cultural Marxism, Marxist divide and conquer strategies in order to really divide, conquer, and rule over us all in that way, right? And they frame themselves as the good guys, that they're protecting the little person, right? When they're really just using us all. Like I said, the true paradigm is the establishment versus the rest of us. And if you're awake, aware, and resisting, you are the anti-establishment. You are against the establishment. And because it's always been them against us, even their own people, even their useful idiots, they will eventually turn on them. They will eventually line them all up and do away with them. It's like this.
You have people that are now realizing that, listen, this is not a left versus right thing anymore. Okay. This is not a Democrat versus Republican thing anymore. This is establishment versus anti-establishment.
And the key truth is this: Kamala Harris is the establishment. Kamala Harris is the ultimate DC insider. Kamala Harris is the swamp.
Be giving black people free money from us taxpayers in
Never
the form
happened.
of reparations.
So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan?
That's so bullshit. Like, we're going to study it. We're going to study it. There's no way possible to ever do such a thing. There's no way to ever do it. You'll never be able to figure it out. You'll never be able to do it. You'll never be able to come up with an amount. All you're going to do is try to say that you're going to do it so you get people to support you. It's never going to happen.
I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class. My mother, worked hard, raised me.
Oh, there's the middle class. Everybody drink.
And in case you haven't heard, this is literally her new plan, hoping to win over black voters. She's promising to give 1 million of them $20,000 for free.
Only $1 million, only the first $1 million.
Fully forgivable loan for them to start businesses, which means that all they need to do is just log on to their local city's website and pay $20 to get a business license and then call themselves a professional TikToker. Or maybe they can be YouTubers. And by the way, YouTube has a special program called YouTube Black, where they fly in a bunch of black creators and then give them special perks. And I'm getting a notification on my dashboard asking me to fill out the demographic survey to help the algorithm become more fair. They want to know what race I am in order to boost black channels in the algorithms. No joke. And yes, I have thought about identifying as black on the internal dashboard in hopes of that unshadow banning the channel, but then that would have some repercussions. It would attract a certain demographic of audience that, let's just say, may not vibe very well with my content. Support education.
Guys, please hit the like button, man. Helps out a lot.
Education training and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs. That actually is a good idea, but telling black people that they need a better education, that's racist. So can't do that. Protect cryptocurrency investments, not just in general, just so black men who make them know that their money is safe. Launch a national health initiative focused on illnesses that disproportionately impact black men, STDs. Legalize recreation.
What in the world? This is the craziest agenda I've ever seen. They actually put this out, and it's like
recreational marijuana. She said that's literally on her agenda to help black men. And she wants to help black people become involved in selling marijuana in the dispensary business. Before the woke mind virus.
They want to help people. They want to help people get high and then help them sell drugs. That's what she thinks of black men.
Was
crazy.
Unleashed
No
upon
wonder she's losing the
America
black vote.
almost 10 years ago now. Kind of started rumbling about 2015, really. This would have been a meme. This would have been a joke. This would have been absolutely ridiculous. A political candidate promising to give black people $20,000 that they'll vote for her and help them get started in the marijuana business. I'm Mark Dice. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and if you're a regular viewer, please share links to my videos.
All right. Done, man. Done. Thank you guys so much for that. Let's see. All right. Thank you, Mark. All right. So part 2 to this is her. This is the one that really got around this week, was her interview with Brent Baer, which I thought could have been tougher. I actually thought it could have been tougher. I would like to have seen him just hit her harder with questions and not let her monologue so much. I mean, that's what she was trying to do. And then she tried to be like, well, I'm trying to answer the question. No, you're not answering the question at all. Like, I would have done that completely different. I would have made her walk off a lot sooner. But as it is, she still raged quit. So let's bring in BCP to tell us about this one.
Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump there are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have
there
much more to
are a
say,
lot of
actually.
things that people want to learn.
Yeah, that's all she did. She didn't talk about herself. She just tried to run Trump through the mud with a bunch of bullshit. We know it's all is not true.
About you and your policies, and that's why we
I invite
invited you
everyone
here.
to go to KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that I have
ConAllYouHarris.com. Yeah.
pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And
That's the stupidest thing. It should be accessible to anybody who'd like to read them. Does that make any sense? She gets away with these dumb sentences all the time. It should be accessible to anybody who would like to read them. What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. It just eats up time with bullshit.
it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing.
That's a woman you couldn't have a conversation with whatsoever. I'm surprised she's actually married. Her husband has to be the biggest cuck in the world. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Because she couldn't get a word in edgewise, and she's going to sit there and say a bunch of bullshit, and be, okay, whatever you want, just stop.
Housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do.
And that's why we invited you here to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's
like she's still trying to get through her statement while he's trying to have a conversation.
military, and should we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world?
Yeah, what, with a bunch of trainees? I don't think so.
Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap.
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's got to stop. So, Martha, final. Yeah, I had to dismount there at the end. There's so many things. And she maybe should do more.
I wouldn't have cared. Why do you care, Brent Bear? Why do you care, Brent Bear? Why do you care? I'd be like, I got this establishment puppet sitting in my chair, right? I got cameras on. It's going to go around the world. Millions and millions and millions of people are going to see it. I'm going to make a statement today. I'm not going to be some like good little puppet and sit there and do as I'm told. I'm going to be like, no, man, I'm not going to put up with anything. I'm going to hit hard and hit hard and hit hard. I don't care. She already dogs you guys out and says you guys are evil anyways. You might as well go for it and not try to kiss her ass. And like I said, everybody's saying she came out of this looking like shit, except for CNN and the establishment useful idiots. But I mean, honestly, it could have been a lot better.
More of these.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, I just witnessed one of the greatest meltdowns that we've ever seen in an interview between a cable news journalist and a politician. Okay, we're talking about the Brett Baer versus Kamala Harris Fox News interview that was highly anticipated because a lot of people had questions about whether or not Brett Baer would bring the fire to Kamala Harris. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, I gotta tell you guys, he lit a fire under Kamala Harris's ass, okay? She had a full-blown meltdown, okay? I mean, at points in the interview, it looked like she wanted to get up and cry. Her team ended up rage quitting the interview at 28 minutes because Brett Baer was cooking her that hard throughout the whole interview, okay? This is not an exaggeration. This is one of the greatest meltdowns that I've ever seen, okay? So it's a long interview. I can't play the whole thing, okay? But we're going to play some of the parts of it that I think were the most important
Exactly,
parts.
Thomas.
And we're going to go over it because this was insanity, right? I mean, Kamala Harris she did not know how to handle the heat from Brett Baer. And he bought the heat, okay? Because throughout a vast majority of the interview, she was not answering the questions. And It started at the beginning when Brett Baer predictably talked about immigration and Kamala Harris's failure at the border. Take a look.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is.
I hate people when they start answer like that. Well, I'm glad you raised it. That's a stall for time. All these things are little tricks they use to stall for time, right? Just get right into it. Answer the question.
It's a topic of discussion that people want to write.
It's a topic of discussion. People want to. Nobody cares. Shut up. Answer the question.
They have, and you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point.
See, she knew she was going to do that. Brent, let's just get to the point. Brent, she rehearsed that. That's rehearsed.
Point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
No, you just said the point. Now we're going to comment on the point. Now we're going to comment on the point. See, no, you just said the point. Now we're going to comment on the point. See, everybody putting up with this shit where she's trying to control the conversation. You can't let a woman like that or anybody at all, politician, establishment, useful idiot, whatever. You can't let anybody control a conversation like that when you're the interviewer. You can't. You gotta stop and you gotta be like, no, we're on the premise. You said the point is this, and here's what we're gonna go with it right now, right? Because she just wants to monologue for like 10 minutes. That's what she wants to do.
6 million people
that
have been
needs to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into
No,
office,
he has to ask the question first. He has to answer the question before you can answer it. He has to ask the question. And he just said, I'll get to the question. I promise. Let me give you my point so you understand where we're coming from.
your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back,
that should have been a two-parter right there. He should have been like that. So why did you reverse the policies? Period. Stop. Okay. And then he could have, okay, let me follow up. Because you reversed the policies, right? This part.
Do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
He's trying to get her to apologize right here for something she's not going to apologize for. Do you owe these people apology? He spends all this time to kind of get her to apologize. And I don't think that was a good use of his time. I think he should have been hammering around the points. Of course, I mean, I don't know what his agenda is here, right? But my agenda is coming from the the truth department here is like I want to nail her on the answers, on the truth, right? I want to say, well, why did you reverse it? You reversed it because you just wanted to go against everything Trump had done, right? And you thought that was a good idea, or no, maybe you wanted the borders to be open. So what is it? Just be honest. And then she's going to say something. I said, that's not the point. You're not answering the question. You're not answering the question. You have to hit him like that. You're not answering the question. You're still not answering the question. This is the same thing you do everywhere you go. You just go on and on and on and on. And you never answer the question. Do you want to answer the question today? I don't care if she get up and walk off. I don't care.
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath.
You see how long she's winding up? You see how long this, that, this, and that. She's not answering. You're not answering the question. Look, you're saying a bunch of things that don't matter. Answer the question.
Oath was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am.
No, not yes, ma'am. No, it wasn't. It was no. So you're saying that a bill to fix the immigration is amnesty because that's what the bill says. Let me read it to you right quick. No. I'm going to read it to you. Okay. Here's your bill. That's how you handle that.
It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. Exactly. It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the. Yes, ma'am.
He's trying to do it, and she's trying to talk over him. No. We're going to read this, and then you're going to respond. That's the way it's going to work.
May I finish responding, please?
No. You're not responding to anything. We already got what you said. You said that you think that this is border security. So I'm going to read to you and everybody else what you think border security is.
You have to let me finish.
You had the White House and the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
Responding to the point you raised.
No, you're not responding. You're trying to avoid answering the question. The question is this. This is what you think. The point is this. This is what you think border security is. It's an amnesty bill, right? Because this is what you put in. You're saying that this was your solution, right? So you're saying that amnesty is your solution to the border, right? This is what you put in on day one after you cut down all the policies that were working. See, they're just not responding right.
Okay. And I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So as you guys.
No, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I would never have said yes, ma'am to her one time. I mean, no. You can go to your rallies and go on and on and on about stuff, put all kinds of sentences together you want. Right now, I need you to answer the question. We're going to stay on point. That's what we do here.
As can see, the strategy from Kamala Harris going into this interview was to essentially filibuster every question, right? With
Greg gets
an answer that has nothing to do with the question, right? Bret Baier on multiple occasions asked her direct questions. Okay. Now, these were not gotcha questions. Bret Baier was not trying to get her with gotchas. Okay. I don't want people to get it twisted. That's not what he was doing. He asked her direct questions about how many illegals do you think have come into the country? She can't answer the question. He asked her about, well, why did you get rid of Remain in Mexico? Or do you regret getting rid of Remain in Mexico? Because they want you to believe that the border crisis began with Trump not going along with the bipartisan border bill that does not secure the border, right? That's what they want you to believe. But as Bret Baier pointed out numerous times throughout his interview, That's not when the crisis began. The crisis got out of control basically the first day that Joe Biden got into office, okay? It is because of your actions, the actions of your administration. And Kamala Harris just refused. She refused to take accountability and responsibility, not only for Joe Biden's actions, okay, but also for the lives that were lost as a result of those actions. Take a look.
Instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want.
But this is, what does that statement mean? This is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. No shit. You don't need to say that. I mean, come on, dude. We get that. You're not saying anything.
Are solutions, and they want a president of the United States.
Yeah, they wanted solutions, which you didn't provide in 3.5 years. I'd be cutting her off left and right. I'd be like, stop this nonsense. Do you realize that every time you try to answer a question, you go in and you say a bunch of things that don't matter, right? You're trying to build up this thing and take up time with a bunch of statements. We're not getting anywhere. This is why people don't understand who you are. They don't know what you stand for. And this is your big problem. You need to learn how to answer a question and be straight about the answer. Yeah, if you're proud of what you stand for, you're proud of your solutions and everything else, just state them.
Who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing.
And by the way, guys, we're going to coming up the O'Keefe interview with the Hot Twins Undercover at the southern border. It's about Lying in the Sand, his new documentary. I'll be doing my review of that. I have seen it. And also after that, the Elon Musk town hall. So stay tuned.
Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original
Bernie
premise.
Sanders said no.
Jocelyn Mungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley. They are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday, campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe those families an apology?
Stop. Why go to the do you owe those families an apology? Why go for a gotcha? Why go for a gotcha there? I mean, just you go back to the policy itself.
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that.
Tragic cases, these are the ones that are highlighted. This stuff's happening every day.
There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months.
Nope. You said amnesty earlier. Remember, that's why you have to drill her on the amnesty part of that thing, because she can't come back to it now. No. We already discussed this. This was an amnesty bill that you think is the border solution. Amnesty is not. How is letting people through the border and then giving them amnesty immediately a solution to a border crisis? That's not going to solve the fact that millions of people are coming across the border and you're just going, here you go, you're in. No. That's not going to help anything at all. That's not going to stop murders and people that are here to do crimes from doing them. That has nothing to do with anything you're talking about. This is why people don't trust you on the border.
Ago.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies.
I liked it when they did this.
To release. They were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Mungari's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss. Sincerely.
Is that an apology? I don't think that's an apology. I mean, Brent's just wanting an apology. I don't think that's an apology.
But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions.
And that brings me to the next part of the interview, in which, again, you can see here, Kamala Harris clearly not trying to answer any questions, but Brett Baier moved on from immigration and the border, and he asked her about some of her past policy positions that she has taken, okay, when she was running as a Democrat in 2019, and her positions now, and why she has changed those positions. And, of course, she's not answering the question.
I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free healthcare. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, why even go there? You did it. Those are your results. Those are your results. Do you still support your results? You did it. It's already done. It is what it is. You know, I can go on and on about this, man. I mean, everybody's probably seen a lot of this already. So I want to move along with the topics tonight. But just to say that I'm glad that most people see this as an L for her, right? As people slip away, make sure that you don't go, because I'm going to be moving on to other things here. Let's see. But anyways, yeah. Let me go back to this screen here. Okay, so more election 2024 news here. We have to go back to this one. Anyways, I thought that it should have gone a little bit differently. And I could sit there and pick that apart all night long, but I do have other things to get to. And I'm sure at this point a lot of people have seen it. You know, I'm glad that people think that she took an L on that. I'm happy that that's the case. I think she could have taken a bigger L. Let's put it that way.
This is why
I'll go with that. All right, so I'll just go with that, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, here we go. Next part. Trump was proven right. FBI steals stealth edits crime report proving crime is up. Man, I'll tell you what. Tim's going to say it really good here up front. Yeah, we're still at winning speed.
Donald Trump was correct in his debate when David Muir fact-checked him, I'll do air quotes for that, and said violent crime is down. Donald Trump said it's not being reported properly, and we have a bombshell report not right now. Real Clear Investigations has discovered the FBI has stealth edited its crime rates. They are way up, and we knew this. Anyone with an ounce of honesty in their body and the ability to do a Google search knew that the FBI was underreporting crimes in major cities because the police departments.
Yes. I mean, yes, dude. I mean, all the time. I mean, they have to be underreporting because there's crime constantly happening. We're constantly hearing about migrant crime. I mean, Trump isn't making this stuff up. It's for real. We follow what's going on in New York City and other sanctuary cities all the time here. And we're constantly hearing about murders and other awful crimes happening. Right? They're all over the place. They're happening constantly. And a lot of places, they're letting people go after they do them. So they commit more crimes. They go them again and again and again and again and again. Not to mention that everybody who comes across the border illegally is committing a crime. So that's millions of crimes. They're not counting those either.
We're not cooperating. And that's not even half of it.
But, now, violent crimes, okay? Violent.
The FBI quietly updates its numbers, saying nothing. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Merrick Garland came out and praised the decline in crime rates. The White House came out and said, we are doing the work and crime is down. The whole time they knew that crime was up and we are experiencing it. I don't believe for a second the economy is good. They are lying. And every single time we say something is incongruous with your statement and reality, they just say, that's just you. Let me tell you about violent crime. People are talking about it all over the place. Tren de Aragua in New York City. The media said that there was no apartment takeovers in Aurora, Colorado. Guess what? There were. Now they're saying, oh, but JD Vance, it's only a handful. Only a handful. Right. We are experiencing the crime. We are experiencing the bad economy. And they keep spitting in our faces and saying it's not true. Yeah. Who are they lying to? You know, the economy thing is going to be interesting because I think that they're putting up these numbers. Republicans say it's not true. Donald Trump says it's not true. The media says, fact check, false. Donald Trump, you just lie all the time. And then without saying a word, they update their numbers. Let's read the story here from Real Clear Investigations. Stealth edit. FBI quietly revises violent crime stats. When the FBI originally released the final crime data for 2022 in September of 23, reported that the nation's violent crime rate fell by 2.1%. This quickly became and remains a Democratic Party talking point to counter Donald Trump's claim of soaring crime. But the FBI has quietly revised those numbers, releasing new data that shows violent crime increased by 4.5%. The new data includes thousands more murders, rapes, robberies, and aggravated assaults. The Bureau, which has been at the center of partisan storms, made no mention of these revisions in its September 2024 press release. RCI discovered the change through a cryptic reference on the FBI website that states, quote, the 2022 violent crime rate that has been updated for inclusion in CIUS 2023. But there's no mention that the number increased. One only sees the change by downloading the FBI's new crime data and comparing it to the file released last year.
Right. And then they keep going on, look, because they said that the crime's going down. You can just look at it, But, honestly, you look around and you Google the news, or you just look up news. You could go around to some base sources that are reporting it for real. And you see the crimes happening every day on a violent crimes happening every day on an escalating level, especially if you're following what's going on in New York City.
After the FBI released its new crime data in September, a USA Today headline read, quote, violent crime dropped for third straight year in 2023, including murder and rape. It's been over 3 weeks since the FBI released the revised data. The Bureau's lack of acknowledgement or explanation about the significant change concerns researchers. Here's where I believe it is fair to say this is political. It was intentionally done by a corrupt DOJ to benefit the political elites in the Uniparty. Quote,
bingo.
I have checked the data on total violent crime from 2004 to 2022. Carl Moody, a professor at the College of William and Mary who specialized in studying crime, told Real Clear Investigations. There were no revisions from 04 to 2015. And from 16 to 20, there were small changes of less than 1 percentage point. The huge changes in 21 and 22, especially without an explanation, make it difficult to trust the FBI data. It's up to the FBI to explain what they have done. And they haven't explained these large changes, Dr. Thomas Marvel, the president of Just Tech Research, a criminal justice firm, told RCI. I believe that when you look at those quotes and that information, and you compare it, or I should say juxtapose it with the statements made by the White House and by Merrick Garland himself, it stands to reason the data was intentionally obfuscated so they could give themselves a pat on the back and claim they were doing their jobs when this country was burning to the ground.
Shows you how much they love this country, doesn't it?
I know. Fact check, says the journalist. Is the country really burning to the ground? No. It's a figure of speech, but that's the game they play. Donald Trump will say crime is soaring, and they'll say false. No, it isn't. It's up, but it's not soaring. Spare me your lies, dude. They say the actual changes in crimes are extensive. The updated data for 22 report that there were 80,000 more violent crimes than in 21. There were an additional 1,699 murders, 7,780 rapes, 33,000 robberies, 37,000 aggravated assaults. The question naturally arises, should the FBI's 2020, the question naturally arises, should the FBI's 2023 numbers be believed? Take a look at this. This is shocking. Violent crime rate, 80,029. Look at these. Without the increase, the drop in violent crime in 23 would have been less than half as large, only 1.6 instead of the reported drop of 3.5. The FBI isn't the only government agency that has been revising its data. The Bureau of Labor massively overestimated the number of jobs created during the year that ended in March by 818,000 people. I'm going to tell you right now. We know for the 23 data, which is the latest report, that it's missing around half of the police jurisdictions in major cities. So no, we cannot trust this. The FBI's crime stats revision reveal how much guesswork is involved in even the final numbers often seized on by politicians. The FBI doesn't simply count reported crimes. Instead, it offers estimates by extrapolating data from police departments that report only partial year data. The Bureau also makes estimates for cities that report no data. The FBI's method of generating these estimates range over time, and it affects the figures they report. The FBI processes, such as how it tries to estimate unreported figures, has long been a black box, even to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, the DOJ's actual agency. Anderson said, when he headed for the Bureau of Justice Statistics, we definitely would have highlighted in a press release or report the 6.6% change recorded for 2022, which moved the numbers from a drop to a rise in violent crime. Another problem with FBI crime data is its reliance upon reported crimes. Most crimes go unreported. Now, this is where we can break down the manipulations. I think we have this, the Marshall Project from 2023, 4 reasons we should worry about missing crime data. The FBI's crime data is still incomplete, and politicians are taking advantage. The Marshall Project has been screaming this for some time, that they are not submitting the information. Take a look at this. 6,097 agencies submitted no 2022 data, 32% of all police agencies. When they come out and they say crime is down, we know they're lying, because what they're really saying is police departments aren't reporting crimes. They can say that overall reported crimes are down. However, understand we haven't received all data on crimes. So this stat is meaningless. September 23, 2024. Statement from Vice President Harris on record declines in crime.
In the scene.
All right, let's slow down. These are the 2023 numbers that have been revised, right? The violent crime drop in 2023. Now we're wondering about 2024. What Real Clear Investigations is saying is that without the increase, the drop in violent crime in 23 would have been less than half as large, only 1.6. Not a record by any means, but we are still presuming, based on this absurdity of 21 and 22's numbers being messed up, that 23 is also a lie. What Real Clear Investigations is saying is that now that we have new numbers on 2022, it shows the crime drop from the 23 report to 24 is half as large as they thought it was. However, they are further extrapolating, or at least entertaining the probability that the 23 numbers themselves are wrong. The 24 numbers are wrong. I'm sorry. I mean to say that they're now saying, look, if they were wrong in 21, 22, and 23, 2024 is going to be underreported, and we're not going to get the real numbers till later. Knowing, as the Marshall Project has stated already, that police agencies are not reporting this data, it is reasonable to conclude that crime is actually up, or at the very least stagnant, or even if it's down, it's only a little bit, right?
Right. Well, they need to call it out. They need to call that out.
Not record numbers. Kamala Harris put out this statement. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Every American and every community should have the freedom to live safe from violence, harm, fear. Yet before Biden and I took office, too many families were experiencing crime as our nation witnessed the highest increase in murders in recent history.
That's bullshit.
That is why we immediately got to work in our counties, and this is all just manipulations. They put out this statement.
Yep.
Today's new data submitted to the FBI confirms. They say last year we saw the largest ever one-year decrease in the homicide rate, which now stands 16% below its 2020 level. Violent crime is at a near 50-year low. Our progress is continuing, blah, blah, blah.
Lie.
I can only conclude that as we have Merrick Garland and Kamala Harris coming out and saying, look at these fantastic numbers, and it's turning out it's not correct, it's false, and that the FBI only did this quietly with a stealth edit, I feel it is fair to opine upon this information, upon information and belief, I would say, they intentionally did this to benefit the Harris campaign. I will stress, I take pride in my thoughts and opinions, and I recognize they could be wrong. What I am saying is, when you look at the crime data being incorrect, when you look at the media attacking Donald Trump when he says crime is up, and now we're learning that crime was actually up in that data, with the statements made by Merrick Garland and the White House, I believe it is reasonable to assume that they intentionally obfuscate these numbers so they can put out statements praising themselves for the good job they've done.
Yep. And we'll leave it right there. That's the truth. That's what it's about. That is what it's about, guys. But yeah, like, coming back out there, catching that, we got to call it out. We got to call it out. All right. So there is this thing going on. I don't know how much of this we're going to get into, because we got so much more to get into tonight. But oh, wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Back. Okay, we might be. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're good. All right, we got all that. We covered all that. Okay, cool. We're moving on. Did that. Good. All right. All right, rig watch time. Here's my rig watch, border crisis, the O'Keefe interview into the border crisis, and then not much there except for that. And then on to the Elon. It should take us right up into the Elon Musk town hall. Just to let people know, people popping in and out. Hope you'll stick around for all this stuff and more. But let me go ahead and show you right now. The big news coming out of Georgia is right here with our ground news. I should be sponsored by these guys. This is even from a couple of days ago. Judge invalidates new Georgia election rules, including ones on ballot hand counting and certification. These laws were put in years ago, and they're just coming around to do this now. How convenient, right? So the judge ordered the board to remove the rules to inform officials they are void. Concerns were raised that these rules could allow Trump allies to interfere with the election certification and results. What a bunch of bullshit. All we're trying to do is make sure that all the votes get counted fairly, and they don't put a bunch of bad votes in there, a bunch of false documents and false ballots, right? For their because they can't win otherwise. They have to cheat to win, right? Judge Thomas Cox Jr., who should be voted out if that's possible, or at least fired, noted that the state election board overstepped its authority on election procedures. Oh, really? Who paid you to say that? The rules included changes on the ballot, hand counting, and certification process, which Cox blocked. Where do you get off blocking that a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the election? Fucking bullshit. Right? And so this is grounded news. You can see who's covering it right over here on the side, right? Where it's being covered. Only Fox News is mentioning this. Very undercovered for the right. Oh, look, it's going up a little bit. Well, there you go. More people are starting to cover it now. How about that? You see that update in real time? Pretty cool, huh? All right. So good. 44% of the sources are center. I guess they consider these people the center. And then, yeah, more and more people are. Gateway Pundits now covering it. I don't know who Lucianne is, but there's Fox News. And these are people that are all, that this should be a way over here. And we know better. But yeah, you can see how the headlines look. Judge voids 7 election rules passed by Trump-backed board in Georgia. Judge invalidates, that means Republican. Judge invalidates key parts of Georgia election rules crafted by Trump allies. That means, Republicans. Judge invalidates judge. Yeah, so there's the headlines going across the left, right? And on the right, you see judge rules, Georgia judge rules new election rules are illegal, constitution, and void. Fulton judge strikes down 7 new election rules, including hand counting of ballots after polls are closed, mandatory video surveillance of drop boxes, claiming it's illegal. It's illegal to watch use video surveillance on drop boxes. How is that illegal? This guy needs to be fired and fired and fired and fired. He needs to be fired 3 times. All right, stop that. All right. And claiming unconstitutional, right? Yeah, tell me you're not paid off without telling me you're not paid off, right? So anyways, yeah, that's big news here in Georgia. Nobody's liking that at all. Of course, except for the useful idiots in the establishment. They're loving it. They're like, yay. Ugh. There we go. Rig watch. All right. So Mark Zuckerberg says that he's playing it fair this time. He's not going to take a side. He's not taking sides. We thought he all had to come to Jesus moment when he talked to Vivek. We're hoping that to be true. Maybe he doesn't know this is going on. But good old James O'Keefe and O'Keefe Media Group has uncovered a little scandal.
Your uncle in Ohio said something about
Winning
Kamala Harris is isn't unfit to be a president because he doesn't.
Hey, Kim's Corner, how you doing?
That kind of shit is automatic.
Meet Jeevan Gowali, a senior software engineer at Meta.
Right.
Are they doing a good job protecting our democracy? Because I can see these right-wing groups setting up Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts for that matter.
It's like, I'm so desperate to be on this date. What does she want to talk about work?
Right, and just start posting this information, be like, Harris is blah, blah, blah.
That's all going to be demoted 100%. The civic classified is strong.
The senior software engineer also goes on to say that, quote, the person would not be notified, unquote, if they were demoted because of their anti-Kamala Harris post on Meta, and red listed, that's a new term we just learned, red listed, meaning according to Collins Dictionary, things that are not permitted.
Would the person who posted that would he be notified that?
The person would not be notified, but there's these things that we collect is if a bunch of items that if at least a couple of items that a person has created has violated civic classifier, then they're also red listed.
Okay, so you remember when I did that whole stream on DNC mind control using social media marketing, data analytics, marketing and sales infrastructure, and I explained how segmentation works and how scoring works? What he just said backed that up 100%. Because if they said a couple things, meaning they're getting scored, right? They're getting scored. They said a couple things, then they would fall into that red listed segmentation. I know there's 2 people in this crowd right now that have had this happen just by posting my content. And I apologize for that. But you know what? I know that you guys don't care. I know you're doing it for the right reasons. But talking trash and truths, Shelly, she can now no longer post video links or something. Suddenly out of the blue, it's been disabled. Heidi has had several things taken down that she's posted trying to promote the show, trying to get people to come to the show or listen to the show. Right? So they know that I'm doing a lot of coverage of I'm exposing the truth about Kamala Harris, using other creators who do the same thing. And that's in my title a lot of times. So maybe I need to I mean, at that point, I have to no, I know, but yeah, right. I know, right. But I mean, hey, where's Mark Zuckerberg? Isn't he supposed to be doing something about this? Isn't it supposed to be fair that you're literally still backing the corrupt establishment?
OMG American Swiper asked Jeevan if Meta was shadow banning users for their anti-Kamala Harris posts. Take a look at what he says.
So is that called shadow banning?
Shadow banning, yeah.
Okay, so they will be shadow banned. They will never be shown. But so they will see it.
See, I mean, boom, busted. You fired.
dip in like impressions and engagement, but they would not be like officially warned of the reason why.
We asked Gawali if Meta has the ability to affect the upcoming 2024 election, to which he responded, yes, Meta does. Jeevan also confirmed that Mark Zuckerberg intends to help the Democrats in this election cycle.
You guys have the ability to influence the outcome of the election.
Yes.
Do you think Zuckerberg agrees? Good. Is he going to help the Democrats?
Oh yeah, so old Mark is up to his tricks again, huh? He ain't really based at all. According to this guy, according to this dude. So no, who's going to press Mark Zuckerberg on this? Who should press him right now? Get out there and press him, and say, hey, look, your guy right here just said you're in on it.
Yeah.
Meet Jeevan Gawali, a senior software engineer at Meta. Jeevan met our OMG undercover American swiper on the dating app Bumble. In the meeting he had with
Bumble, what's that? Bumble? Jesus. Anybody know what that is? Where's T-Rex Trucking? Is he here? He would know what that is. Hold on.
our journalist, Jeeva describes internal workings of how Meta is dealing with misinformation on their platform. Jeevan talks about Meta's civic classifiers, a system that Meta has built through their integrity team to demote civic content. In other words, political content.
I mean, they try to take women's rights away.
I think,
like, how do you guys like control that hate speech?
There's a team called Integrity team.
Okay.
That's like a large portion of like, it's a pretty significant team, and they build all these classifiers. The base level of defense system that Facebook has built now is they have built these things called civic classifiers. Civic classifier is a really large model that's been trained on civic content.
Okay.
So anything that it detects to be a civic content is like demoted.
Civic classifier? Okay, what does that
mean? That means that if anything is related to political content, it's automatically like not shown.
We wanted to dive deeper into Meta's demotion of civic content, whatever that means, on their platform. The senior Meta software engineer Jeeva states to our OMG American Swiper that they would, quote, automatically demote, unquote, content that might be critical of Kamala Harris.
Unconnected stuff is not going to show up in your feed. Like ads, I think can show up, and they probably have a whole different process of vetting ads.
Okay.
But like unconnected content, like say your uncle in like Ohio said something about like Kamala Harris isn't unfit to be a president because he doesn't have a child.
Okay.
That kind of shit is automatically demoted.
Now, if you remember back in 2019,
opinions are automatically demoted on Facebook. Need we listen to more of this? If you want to watch the rest of this interview and kind of dig into it, let's see. Hold on. Actually, what is this? There's more. We're gonna keep going. All right.
2019, we did a story about a Facebook insider that showed us internal practices being played out at Facebook regarding what they called deboosting as well. What was previously considered a conspiracy theory, now documented by this Facebook whistleblower that came out with us in 2019.
Every time I would see this deboost live stream kind of code on there.
And what does it mean when these documents say action deboost live distribution? What does the term deboost mean?
When I see reduce live distribution, it means preventing the distribution of this live feed.
And just 2 years after that, we got our hands on an insider tape that revealed Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and a top executive were punishing truth seekers.
Now it's been clear that we have the number of efforts to find people and we terminate people and pursue the recourse that we have when we identify them. And in this case, we did find them.
Now in 2024, Jeevan from Meta, previously Facebook, mentioning continued practices of demoting content just a few weeks before the presidential election. The senior software engineer also goes on to say that, quote, the person would not be notified, unquote, if they were demoted because of their anti-Kamala Harris post on Meta, and red listed, that's a new term we just learned, red listed, meaning according to Collins Dictionary, things that are not permitted.
Would the person who posted that would he be notified that
the person would not be notified? But there's these things that we collect is like if a bunch of items that like if at least a couple of items that a person has created has
we've seen this part.
Quote, we lose total control. Watch this.
If the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just
we lose total control. If the truth gets out, the villainous, evil elitists lose total control.
Social and psychological effects. It's real harm.
We asked Gawali if Meta has the ability to affect the upcoming 2024 primary election.
We heard that. We heard that. Okay, cool.
election, to which he responded, yes, Meta does. Jeevan also confirmed that Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay, we did all this. All right, cool. We're good. All right, let's move on to the next topic. There you go. Proof positive. Zuckerberg has not changed anything at Facebook. And they are definitely gaming the system right now. It's a dead platform. But I tell you what, hold on, let me back this up one click for a second. If you want to make a statement to Facebook right now and you're still on it, post that link. Post that link right there. That's a link to the OMG report. Stick it to them. Doesn't matter anyways. They're not for freedom and liberty. They're not for a fair system. And they are out for the establishment, as always. But we knew that, didn't we? Tatum, what's up?
So we are not pro-abortion, we're only pro-choice. We love babies.
Yeah, we caught them. Dirty, dirty business. And I hope people go to jail over this.
Hey, Latin, how you
Before
doing?
we get into the video, I want to tell you guys about Save the Stork. I mean, we did an incredible job. Shout out to everybody that have given. All
Nice
of you,
Love it.
Tatum Stork Bus Angels. You got a T-shirt, but we still got about, what we say,
Really good work he's doing.
$8,500 more dollars to go. I want us to achieve that goal in this video. It's so easy.
Do it.
PowerPoint presentation that we wanted to present to you guys because we've gotten a lot of information and proving that these people are manipulating to get ballot measures put into place. We're going to show you what ballot measures in your state to vote no on this election. You have to vote no. These people are lying, they're deceptive, and they literally want that all the way up through birth with no restrictions. And ultimately what they want to do is create poor habits and bad morality. They don't really care about the life of the mother. They don't really care about none of that stuff. It's all virtue and empty platitudes.
Only gonna watch a little bit
They
of
really
it.
want to create a culture of degeneracy, and they
Watch
want
this.
to be able to also control population.
Jacob, what's up?
That's
my
what
man?
they want to do. It has nothing to do with them loving you or doing nothing. But we caught these fools in Arizona, so let's put them on blast. I'm going to go
Thank
through
you
the
for putting
PowerPoint
that
presentation.
over there
I'm not
on
going to
Rumble
be
as
on
well.
the PowerPoint because I want you to see it. I don't want to end up getting in the way. But I'm going to go through and present the PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to show you proof that we caught these people in Arizona cheating to get this ballot measure on. I want you to vote no. There's nothing else. Vote no on Prop 139. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's look at this real quick. In Arizona, is Prop 139. This is obviously a swing state. If you live in
attention to
any
this,
one of
guys. You
these
may be in one
states
of these
right here,
states.
you need to be looking out for some of these ballot measures or amendments that they're trying to make to your state constitution. If you look at the notes down here, it says 2 out of the 6 2024 swing states have an abortion ballot initiative, and that's Florida and Arizona. So we need to be cautious of what these propositions are. So in Arizona, it's Prop 139. In Colorado, it's Initiative 79. Florida, it's Amendment 4. In Maryland, Question 1. In Missouri, Amendment 3. Montana, I think that's CI 128. New York, Prop 1. Nevada is Question 6. I guess the two swing states will probably be Nevada and Arizona. I don't consider Florida a swing state. I think Nevada is probably a swing state more so than Florida. In South Dakota, Amendment G. So be on the lookout of these. Make sure that you're participating in these votes and vote no. Okay.
Yeah, and let people you know in that state about this know about this as well.
Especially in Arizona, for my Arizonans, vote no on Prop 139. Now, here's an interesting fact of how they're donating this money into the state of Arizona. This is what they're doing strategically. The people of Arizona only raised about 31% of this money, $7 million. If you put it in perspective, majority of the people in Arizona are not funding the campaign to have what they call, access in our state.
What's that?
And I brought a list right here. If you
somebody tried to say that you were a troll, you're not a troll. I've known you for a long time. There's the patriot out there in California trying to do the right thing. Let's see. I wonder who that was. That sucks. I hate it when People don't recognize patriots, and they're just having a good time there. I get it. I don't know about that. It depends on who it is, isn't it? I don't know. I hope not. But these are all Democrat initiatives here.
You want to pause it and look at it. It's kind of small. Maybe I'll get this PowerPoint presentation and send it to you if you send me an email. If I can, I'll send you the PowerPoint presentation. But these are the companies that are sponsoring crazy amounts of money to get this initiative put into the state of Arizona, and none of these people are from Arizona.
CLU of Arizona.
Now we got Arizonans fed up with failing health. We got them donating $5 million, but everybody else is outside of Arizona. The biggest donor is the Fairness Project from Washington, D.C., with 24% of the money donated into this state.
The Fairness
And you can
Project.
look at any of these other companies
They always
that you
use
want to, you know,
double
disengage with if you're somehow associated with them, because they're on the wrong side of history, if you ask
Dude,
me.
who the hell is associated with these places? These are all like Soros-backed funded bullshit right here. Think big, America. All this stuff. These are all. This is the way they game the system. Like these groups right here have to go. They have to go. They have to be defunded. And you do that by getting to their main sources and eliminating those main sources from being able to fund them. Right? You block big globalist donors to these organizations. And then you call the organizations out. We need to have a watch list of subversive organizations, right? This is subversion. This is the way it works, right? They make, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, about 30 different NGO groups, right? That are out there with big money, all filtering it into this effort to change things. For what? For what? To undermine the will of the people, right? And they're out there lying, which is going to show.
Let's go to the next slide. The deception in signature gathering. In the state of Arizona, there's signature gathering that you have to get enough signatures to get it as a proposal on the ballot. And they literally have been incredibly deceptive. And in this presentation, we're going to show you in video 1 how they're forging signatures in the library. Video 2, being told that it's okay to sign more than once. Video 3, petitioners lying about what's on the amendment. And then video 4, part 2, petitioners are lying about what's on the amendment. AZ law regarding ballot initiatives, misrepresentation, and the laws regarding videotaping. And so here's, kind of the laws around that. We'll probably send this PowerPoint presentation to people that really want it, because we think it's important to people to get the full information. So if you just look at this real quick, I know it's real small. I hate that the thing is small. All right, so if you look at this slide here, you can see that somebody clearly with the same handwriting wrote all of these names down, which is clearly illegal. You can't go and write people's names down for them because that's not genuinely their signature. Because what's stopping you from writing 1,000 people's names on here and claiming that this is what they did? This woman must have got the address from these people or some list or something, same handwriting, and spelled Paradise Valley wrong 11 times. There is no way whatsoever, if you live in Paradise Valley, and I used to live in Paradise Valley, that you would spell Paradise Valley wrong. And there's doubly no way in the world that 11 different people who live in Paradise Valley will spell Paradise Valley wrong. And so the clip over here to the right here is a clip of it. I think this guy kind of recording the person over there filling this out. Wrote a clip.
I don't know why it's blurred. Oh, there's a child in there. That's why.
Y'all can see that person right there. I think that's the person that's filling out all of these names that are on this list right here. And he's recording it. All right, let's go to the next PowerPoint presentation. So this next video is that people are being told that it's okay to sign more than once.
If you don't mind me being sir. Are you able to vote in the state of Arizona by chance?
Yeah.
Well, I'm out here making like 9% at Popeyes to help increase minimum wage, so I'll spare you the biscuit if you don't mind signing and showing your support.
I think I signed that.
Hold on, how many days ago was that?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay, just to make sure your vote counts, sir, because some of the petitioners' ballots got stolen. So we did get the okay to get.
Look at the lie and look at the lie and the con. Look at this person working for evil, working for evil.
Signatures in case you need be. So I just want to make sure yours counts. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that I lie and make sure the worst thing happens, you know, because I'm getting paid to be out here and be total scum.
Yeah, we are. Phil worse. Come here. Come here. Huh? Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I worked here when they did. Hold on. Wait, ma'am.
So that's a quick clip of the young lady literally telling him that he can re-sign it. So what are they doing? They're trying to get as many people, and if they sign already, they're trying to get double the signatures. That's fraud. All right, let's go to the next video. Same thing.
It's abortion access. It's the Arizona abortion access.
They're lying about what's on the ballot.
It's abortion access. It's the Arizona Abortion Access Act. It gets it onto the ballot so people can vote.
This year, a petition circulated throughout Arizona seeking to change the Constitution, making abortion up to birth a fundamental right. But did the petitioners understand what they were circulating?
So it's on the books protecting the right to abortion up until the fetus is viable.
This would make it up till 24 weeks.
Yeah. So it's between the doctor and the mother. Wouldn't it be up to birth?
No, I mean, I think it's like, what, 8 weeks or 10 weeks or something like that?
It says after fetal viability. So you can't, it allows.
So I can't interpret legalese that well.
Now listen to their attorney explain the amendment.
The initiative would establish a fundamental right to abortion in the Arizona Constitution, and it would prevent the state from denying, restricting, or interfering with this fundamental right in specific circumstances, both before and after fetal viability.
Do you understand that? Before and after fetal viability. Oh my God. That's till birth. It's insane. And here's another petitioner line about what's on the amendment.
Basically, to put abortions on the ballot, you can either vote yes or no once they get on the ballot. This is just to put it on the ballot.
Throughout most of 2024, a petition was circulating across the state of Arizona seeking to change the Arizona Constitution, making abortion up to birth a fundamental right. But was that fact presented accurately? Did the petitioners themselves, who were paid by big money out of state organizations, understand what they were circulating?
But there's another law that says
You're useful idiots.
So they're just trying to make it across the board up to 24 weeks.
The limitation is definitely going to be 21 weeks.
21 weeks limitation. Okay.
I think it's like
The guy wearing a Nirvana.
16 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you be able to have an abortion for that, like a 6-month fetus?
No.
Abortion up to birth?
We're not pro abortion. We're only pro choice. We love babies.
Listen to that. She doesn't mean a thing she said.
So you got
That's how
these
she said it.
people going around being disingenuous about what's on the ballot to get you to sign it.
Yep.
If
They'll
people
lie
knew
to
how
you.
egregious
They'll
it was,
never
they would have
trust
never
somebody to
signed it. That's
support.
coercion and lies.
Yep.
Deception. And so, like I said, if you want the petition, maybe I'll find a way to get somebody to, to get a system where I'll email this to you if you need the information, especially for my Arizonans. And this is it's incredible. These people are doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. And we need to get this to stop immediately. And so here's some of the facts and circumstances around it. The Attorney General, Chris May, attacked on pregnancy resource centers. Here's the proof that there were some attacks on the resource centers here because they don't eventually, I think, this is my opinion, I think eventually they want to get rid of pregnancy resource centers. They want them all to be Planned Parenthoods so they can control population. That's pretty much what they're trying to do. They want to demonize facilities where they're giving women care. And the craziest thing, and this is like presented right here at the top, you can read it, that they want to punish pregnancy resource centers because they don't disclose whether or not they do abortions at their clinic. So what happens is these women are going to at least get an ultrasound and see what's going on, and they don't tell them that we do abortions. So then the women get there and they don't do abortions. They have to go somewhere else. That's not a crime to do that. because you don't want the woman having that in the forefront of her mind and not receiving services because she's making a decision on whether y'all do abortion or not. That's not right that they try to mandate you do that. You don't have to disclose that. If the person don't ask you, you don't have to disclose that.
Mm-hmm.
They should get the care they need. If they don't want to service with the pregnancy center, they can go somewhere else. But they want people to come out, the pregnancy centers to come out to say we don't do abortions, to shame women into not giving it or participating in it at all. When, to be honest, most women, if they participated in pregnancy resource centers, they probably wouldn't have abortions because pregnancy resource centers give them resources. Many women don't have children because they think they can't take care of them. But pregnancy resource centers help
going
them
on, man. Be careful out there when it comes to this. If you guys want to continue watching the rest of that, that's it. Brandon Tatum on his channel, one of the base creators. I focus. I present here on a weekly basis, and he has a presentation there. You get the link in the description of that video if you want to watch the full presentation that he has there. So we need to move on for time's sake. I wanted to follow up.
An old email account was receiving
Act Blue. I feel like we're running out of time here. I just don't have enough time to fit all this stuff in. You know, it's like I try to fit so much in, and I feel like we got about an hour and 20 left in the show. Let's do this, and then we're gonna get to the next couple of reports that are gonna be a little bit longer. Let me see. How long is that one? Let me look at my. We haven't even got to this one yet. All right, we're gonna touch on this one because I do want to follow up on the Act Blue scandal because we have been following it here real quick.
Was receiving receipts for donations to Democratic candidates like Kamala Harris. He's a victim. Act Blue small donor donation scam busted in this GOP consultants lawsuit. We have questions about all those very little donos, $10, $15, $25 happening like 3 times a day for certain politicians over the course of many months. Every one of those donos under an FEC threshold so that it's not reported. And then they bundle it up, and all those little minor contributions add up to tens of thousands of dollars happening all over the country. And many people are doing it on both sides of the aisle, but we've seen it in droves with Democratic candidates. But the Just the News website is reporting that there's a new lawsuit that has been filed.
Hanging out coming up next,
in Wisconsin,
interview
Waukesha County,
and
by Mark J. Block against an unknown. And we'll see what that means and what he's alleging here. But it is a complaint saying that he has been a victim of this scam. They used his identity to make these donos.
Good. So, I'm glad they're doing something about this. You gotta hit them. You gotta hit them and dismantle their subversion machines, their money laundering machines, whatever their mechanisms is. When they talk about throwing your body on the gears and grinding and holding the gears, this is what they're talking about right here. This corruption.
Oh, the guy's name is Mark Block, right? He's been a consulting Republican for years, and he discovered an old email account that he used for the 2012 Herman Cain presidential campaign. You remember him? 999 guy was receiving receipts for donations to Democratic candidates like Kamala Harris. What? So his old email that he was making donos to or using for Herman Cain now is getting dono receipts for Kamala Harris. He goes, what? I haven't used that. How the hell did that happen? The discovery led Block, who's a stalwart Republican, and his lawyers on a journey that escalated.
Right there, the whole thing should be shut down.
On Monday evening when he filed a groundbreaking lawsuit in Wisconsin under civil racketeering laws, alleging that he's a victim of identity theft and a conspiracy to abuse the massive Act Blue fundraising campaign. It's designed to benefit Democrats with small donations under $200 that evade FEC commission reporting requirements. The litigation, which called the misuse of his personally identifiable information, aka PII, smurfing, mirrors allegations that the House committee uncovered during a recent computer analysis that identified tens of thousands of suspicious donos being placed through Act Blue that appear to come from people that don't have the means to give large amounts of money. The chairman, Brian Steele, referred the matter to the AG in 5 states. The investigation is now expanded to 19 states, which might be one of the largest fundraising controversies in modern American history. And so he filed this lawsuit. Let's see what it says. But before we carry on, we've got to talk about getting prepared. You remember.
All right. I just wanted to follow up on that. You guys can catch the rest at Robert's channel because I want to make sure that we get the rest of the content in there. But Act Blue going down. They need to be destroyed. They need to be out of business, and they need to be fined, and people need to be in prison for doing this stuff. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the criminals getting away with all this shit. If we don't stop this kind of stuff, we're never going to have the kind of society, the kind of country that we want and we deserve. Got to get to this,
folks. What I'm about to.
All right, guys. Remember I told you he's coming on the channel soon. Here he is, Gary Franchi.
Folks, what I'm about to tell you is going to send chills down your spine. Ron Paul, the champion of liberty, has sounded the alarm on a Department of Defense directive that could change everything. We're talking about a directive that could give the military the power to use lethal force against American citizens on American soil.
This is not science fiction. This is not from a dystopian novel. It's happening right now, just weeks before the most critical election of our lifetime. So buckle up, because this story is about to blow the lid off of everything you thought you knew about government overreach. So I'm going to ask you this. Have you ever wondered what happened to legendary Chuck Norris? Yes, I have to read these ads because they support our program. But just like Chuck's surprising strength in his 80s, he is now officially authorized to truckdefense.com and watch the video. You will not believe how simple yet crucial this little change is. Now, the U.S. military, Patriot Voice putting this message out, U.S. military is now officially authorized to kill Americans on American soil. Here's the directive that gives levels of authority, provision of personnel to support response efforts for civil disturbances, which also may require presidential authorization, assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality or any situation which is reasonably foreseeable, that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups is reasonably anticipated. Such use of force must be in accordance with DoD 5210.56, potentially as further restricted, based on the specifics of the requested support. That is the new DoD directive dated September 27th, 2024. So why are they doing this? I'm going to get to Ron Paul in a minute. Ron Paul is in my heart. Because this is a headline from The Atlantic. Kamala Harris might have to stop the steal.
This is the new narrative, guys.
I asked on my X account today why so many people in the media were continually asking politicians about the 2020 election, the theft of the 2020 election, trying to continually badger them and get them on the record for that point. Well, there's no question. Everybody does believe that they're going to try to steal this next election. Patriot Voice says they're absolutely going to steal the election, just like in 2020. They're not shy about telling us way ahead of time. This article from October 6th of 2021, that's how long they have been planning. This is from 2021, this article. Okay. Listen to this rhetoric, because I know the YouTube minders are watching and they're going to go, oh my goodness, he's talking conspiracies. Well, I'm not spewing these conspiracies. This is the rhetoric coming from MSNBC and the Lincoln Project, Stuart P. Stevens. Listen to what he says. We have to anticipate and listen to it in the context of the DoD directive.
Franchise.
What do you see as the potential for havoc?
Well, first, let me congratulate the reporting on this, because I think it's so incredibly important. And look, this is 100% about race. Let's don't pretend it's anything else. It has been from the beginning. Where are all these suspect votes? Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta. What do they have in common? High percentage of African-American voters. Those that voted not to certify those elections were basically trying to disenfranchise millions and millions of black voters. It's that simple. They can't stop blacks from voting anymore the way they did in the 60s with the same kind of success. Though with these voter challengers, they're going to try. And I think that what is really the fear here is put yourself in the mindset that the Trump campaign really doesn't think it can win either the popular vote or the electoral college. You look at this campaign, it makes no sense. He's not trying to add voters. What they want to do is they want to win the election night until the inauguration. And if they can go in and they can violently disrupt these counting centers, how will states be able to certify elections?
Pure
you burn down a
lies.
county center in Arizona. How does a governor certify those elections?
Do you hear what he's saying? He's implying that Trump supporters are going to burn down election centers.
No sense. He's not trying to add voters. What they want to do is they want to win the election night until the inauguration. And if they can go in and they can violently disrupt these counting centers, how will states be able to certify elections? You burn down a county center.
When have we ever violently disrupted election centers? Where's this conspiracy theory from the left coming from?
Arizona. How does the governor certify those elections? What world do we end in? And I think that we really have to anticipate that, think about it. One of the great ridiculousness about this big lie campaign is there was not one Secretary of State in America.
And who's this guy with? The Lincoln Project.
Majority of whom were Republicans who said that the election in their state was anything short of by the standard rules and fair and free.
That was the Lincoln Project's Stuart P. Stevens saying we have to anticipate Republicans burning down election centers in cities where black voters are. Think about that in the context. Think about that in the context. Meanwhile, we have Harris campaign heavily courting international voters, supposedly 200,000 Americans in the UK, so they can get.
That's on my end. Hold on. I don't know what's going on.
Day terror attack.
That's what I said.
Afghan man in Oklahoma plot election day terror attack in the U.S. on behalf of ISIS, according to the Justice Department. Day terror attack. Afghan man in Oklahoma plot election day terror attack in the U.S. on behalf of ISIS, according to the Justice Department. Yeah, this is not conspiracy. This is real.
Entered in the United States September 9, 2021, just as the U.S. was pulling out of Afghanistan. And these types of visas are granted to translators and interpreters that supposedly help the U.S. Armed Forces during our engagement in Afghanistan. But despite all this, Kamala still won't admit that Biden and she royally screwed up at the border.
Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did.
It's a long-standing problem, and solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally, we have been offering solutions.
What I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to
terrorist attack in the name of ISIS?
Yeah. So we better count them. Oh, look, they're all for Kamala. What do you know? Right? More on that directive. The Department of Defense issued a directive authorizing lethal force to be used against American citizens. Here it is, and it's bad. Right before an election that they're actively going to steal, and they're telegraphing that message.
Yes.
Multiple shots here. Salty Texan posting this. As I said, I just read this to you guys. Here's the directive 5240.1. DoD intelligence and intelligence-related activities and defense intelligence component assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. U.S. military now authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That's the question being raised by Zero Hedge.
Yeah, that's the establishment for you, right? That's the establishment for you. That's how much they love America.
60 Minutes also talking about just how long it's going to take to count these ballots on election night.
Telegraphing. They're telegraphing.
Again, I go back. MSNBC saying, get ready for Republicans to burn down election centers. Is it really going to be Republicans? Or people dressed up with MAGA hats? Is this going to be like a Jussie Smollett thing, right? Are they going to scream, this is MAGA country, and then they're going to burn down an election center? Well, look, they all had MAGA hats on. It's clear. Look at them. Look at the video. We all caught them on video, guys. Just like J6. Dress up in MAGA gear and incite a riot.
The ballots come out. So in 2020, it took 4 days to call the election in Pennsylvania. What took so long?
When you have half of your voters vote by mail, like we did in 2020, counting those votes takes time.
We saw for ourselves at a ballot intake center in Chester County outside Philadelphia.
So this is the actual envelope, and these were the ballots are returned in.
And this is a sample.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Elections Administrator Karen Barsoom showed us how each ballot arrives inside 2 different envelopes.
94 ballots in one tray.
Processing them is a tedious task, which under Pennsylvania law cannot start until 7 a.m. on Election Day.
So when we do open it, there is another envelope. So hypothetically speaking, if we have 100,000 mail-in ballots, we have to deal with
Why does it have to be an election day?
double the amount of envelopes, which is a long process. And then the ballots comes out.
And you can't count it folded like that.
Correct. We will need to have a whole different team unfold them, backfold them to get the creases out as good as we can.
How long does it take to process each ballot?
Several minutes. It's not like done in a sec.
So in 2020,
they're getting ready, folks. They're getting ready. MSNBC's Joy Reid, oh yeah, she had a thing to say that the Republicans are laying the groundwork for insurrection 2.0. So MSNBC is just ratcheting up this.
And Senate Republicans are running is a massive disinformation campaign aimed at warping Americans' reality. And they're doing
that's some straight up projection right there.
Yep.
Look at our last report on Kamala Harris and the disinformation that she's putting out. If there's anyone putting out a disinformation campaign, it is straight up Kamala Harris right from the top. This is all projection from MSNBC authoritative news.
With violent, terrifying, and sometimes bizarre conspiracy theories that set the table for maybe armed resistance to a Kamala Harris win.
Look at it. Believe me. Right? Maybe.
Or mass acceptance of American fascism.
See that?
Oh my God, this woman is evil. I'm just waiting for her forked tongue to come flying out of her mouth.
Trump and Republicans backed by far right-wing billionaires like Elon
he's far right.
Musk and right-wing media and
Elon Musk is now far right-wing.
Woman manosphere podcasts are creating social media or gaming social media apps like X Twitter in Trump's favor and pumping disinformation into the brains of Trump supporters.
This is just flat out lies. I mean, she's just flat out lying to people. I mean, flat out lying to people.
Not quite foreign interference, but not exactly different from what Vladimir Putin would do. And in many ways.
Oh, there's the comparison. See, there's the mind control. See, they're comparing him to the, an archetype of evil that all their audience has been trained to program to believe. Right now, you compare it to Putin. See, now you got the Russian thing. Now you got all the memories come rushing back when you do the archetype crafting right here. Right, is what they're doing is they're merging these two items together. They're saying now Elon Musk and then people like him are just like Putin. That's how they do it. That's how mind control works.
Ways the disinformation campaign is working. Base Republicans today.
Yeah, your disinformation campaign's working. You're making useful idiots and fools out of all kinds of people that don't know better.
Believe everything from Democrats secretly manipulating the weather from a secret base in Alaska to Trump being incapable of losing this election. He's winning in a landslide.
You see how they threw that in there? Why we don't need to jump the shark on things? They always try to do that, man. And then they're like, oh yeah, I've seen all kinds of posts about that. They must be right. That's why you don't do it.
And some Democrats are starting to believe the disinformation too. Have you noticed how sharply the polls have shifted?
We saw this part.
in the last few weeks, 12 in Pennsylvania alone. Those polls then swing the polling averages to the right, making Trump look strong.
Because Trump has got a message that resonates with people because they don't want a corrupt country. They don't want people coming across the border in millions that aren't vetted, that are going on to commit crimes. This is why Trump is winning. But they're trying to spin this into something completely different and convince those low IQ, low information people that watch this show, right, of the way it is. And that's why they're beyond help. They're so subverted that they'll never come back.
Kamala Harris looks stalled. Now, there are lots of explanations for why you'd want to game the polls. Entrepreneurial Republican pollsters can certainly...
Yeah, who's gaming the polls more than your side? Nobody.
So she says we're gaming the polls, because it certainly couldn't have anything to do with the fact that Kamala Harris is just a horrible candidate and she has no policy and she fails in every single interview. She delivers word salads. She ditched out on the economic meeting. Trump goes and dominates that. See, these people are not, they are detached from reality, and they're spreading this lie on the cable channels.
Trump, who's apparently fuming about Vice President Harris's billion-dollar fundraising and positive press. And then there's the more sinister explanation.
Wait. Because that's all the left-wing media does is give Kamala Harris positive press.
That if Trump, Republican pollsters, and even jittery Democrats convince enough people that his victory is inevitable, how much easier would it be to claim that the election was stolen if he loses? And how
her whole job is to get on there and subvert people with her annoying voice.
Much easier would it be to get his base to rise up and maybe even get violent the way they did when he lost the last time? How much easier would it be?
They're calling in that J6 thing that they set up themselves.
To get the Republican House Speaker or John Roberts and the right-wing Supreme Court conservatives to throw the election to Trump.
Oh, there it all is. Here's all the bad guys. They're all going to do it.
You see what she's doing here? She's stoking straight up conspiracy theories.
Yep.
She's talking about Republicans getting violent. The other guy talking about burning down election centers. I mean, this is the rhetoric that's coming out. I hope you've been watching this through the eye of this DOD directive. So let's get to Ron Paul now.
There we go.
Because his voice matters. It always matters. But before we get to him, though, we have to just, for context, I need to give you one more piece of context here. I've played this clip before. This is a little bit longer. This is Raskin from a while back. But the point is being made that they have been seeding these ideas for a while about what's going to happen on election day and after.
Yep.
Again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient, because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6th.
They're subverting that idea again. This guy is the biggest con artist, dude.
2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have...
Yet everything he's saying has been proven false to the people who have really been doing the investigation on the J6 hoax, right? Like we've been covering here as well. Just proven completely false.
Not many cases to look at every year. Not that much work to do. A huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring these justices who have not many cases to look at every year. Not that much work. Rampaging Trump mobs.
There's the rhetoric right from him.
Yep.
So I'm just giving you several examples of the violent rhetoric that's being seeded into the masses of the people, that somehow we are going to do something nasty on election day as they arrest somebody for plotting a terror attack on election day, and this DOD directive. Okay. Do we have enough context? Let's go to the good doctor now.
Don't worry about that. But we want to start off with a headline from Zero Hedge. It's a pretty hot headline. U.S. military now is authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That can't be possible. Yeah. This would open up the door for the careless use, and if more frequent and legal. It'll be legal now, so nobody will have to worry about that. Send in the troops. We need you to shoot a couple of these people. Yeah. They're opposing our policies. They're demonstrating against COVID rules. There's something they'll come up with. So I think it's very, very dangerous.
So here it is. Now, Zero Hedge picked it up from Armageddon Pros, which is a Substack which they often run. It says U.S. military now authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. Just ahead, intriguingly, of November elections, and that was my second thought. The military has granted itself permission to unleash lethal force on the civilian population. Again, I thought this has got to be an exaggeration. So I went and looked, and actually go to the next one, because this explains what it is. Now, it's not a law; it's a DOD directive. So this is, the administrative state where they take over. They don't pass laws; they are laws unto themselves. Go to the next one if you can, because this is what they're talking about. And I went and I read this secondly, and it talks about a reissued DOD directive that was reissued just on September 27th, 2024, it governs the Department of Defense intelligence activities and now includes provisions authorizing lethal force in certain circumstances. And it supplants the 2016 version, which did not mention that. So I read all of this too, which is someone else's analysis. I said, okay, this sounds even more troubling. I want to go look at the document itself. And so go to the next one. I actually went and looked at the DoD directive. It's DoD directive 5240.01. Now go to the next one. I'm just going to get to this really quick so I can, just so people, this is on their own website. Now this is section 3 of that directive, assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Now go to the next one. Now this is levels of authority. This is section 3.3. Defense intelligence components may provide personnel to assist a federal department or agency, including a federal law enforcement agency or a state or local law enforcement agency, when lives are in danger in response to such a request for such assistance in accordance with the following approval authorities. Now here are the authorities. I'm sorry to get so far into the woods here, but go to the next one. Responding with assets with potential for lethality. And I underline this, I highlighted it, or any situation where it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. I'm sorry to bog the discussion.
But we want to start off with a headline from Zero Hedge. It's a pretty hot headline. U.S. military now is authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That can't be possible.
Well, they're certainly setting the stage with all this rhetoric about delayed counts of votes. I mean, what this guy said, I'm still just beside myself.
Look, this is 100% about race. Let's don't pretend it's anything else. It has been from the beginning.
Look at this guy. This guy is supposedly a Republican, right? He's a neocon. He's a rhino. He's part of the establishment. I mean, these guys are fake, and they pull them up like they're real. They know the game. The false left right paradigm was only shifted to the Democratic Party now. They're still all there pretending to be who they are. They're still trying to keep that illusion alive, right? But at least we've destroyed the illusion of choice.
Where are all these suspect votes? Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta. What do they have in common? High percentage of African-American votes.
Look, he did. Okay, white guy, keep talking.
Those that voted not to certify those elections were basically trying to disenfranchise millions and millions of black voters. It's that simple. They can't stop blacks from voting anymore the way they did in the 60s with the same kind of success. Though with these voter challengers, they're going to try. And I think that what is really the fear here is put yourself in the mindset that the Trump campaign really doesn't think it can win either the popular vote or the electoral college. You look at this campaign, it makes no sense. He's not trying to add voters. What they want to do.
Yeah, we heard this already. Okay, cool. So let's get Gary's final words.
It's a direct threat to our constitutional rights.
Here you go.
MSNBC says that. So, ladies and gentlemen, what Ron Paul has exposed isn't just alarming, it's a direct threat to our constitutional rights. This DoD directive issued just weeks before the election raises serious questions about the intentions of those in power. But here's what we need to ask ourselves. Is this an isolated incident, or is it part of a larger pattern of government overreach? More importantly, what can we as citizens do to protect our rights, especially on election day? Sound off in the comments. How far
We'll talk about that and
is
more.
too far when it comes to government power?
We'll talk about that and more on October 29th when Gary comes to the show and we meet and do an interview right here. All right. So Rig Watch is on and we cannot stop. There's so much more to go through, but we have to move along now. All right. Time to get into the border crisis and the big hold on. What's this? Oh man, I got to do this one. I got one more. I got to do this one. I got to do the Glenn Beck one. We got time. We'll just make it happen, guys. Yeah, I get all antsy about time. I did the information is what's important. So if you can stick around, I appreciate it. If you got to go, I get it too. It'll be here for the rewatch. If you got something else you got to do, I do appreciate people that stick around and go through these reports with me because it's really important that you know this information. But I can't just skip. I can't get sloppy because I'm worried about time. I got to do this right. So we're going to do this right. All right. We're on winning speed. If we got to speed it up a little bit.
GPT author, strategic.
Explained. Could Democrats disqualify Trump if he wins the election? So we're not even talking about what happens on election day. If we make it through all that mayhem, right? If we get the votes, if we get through all their bullshit they're going to try to pull on election night, if we get through all of that, could they still try shit after election night to stop Trump? We have to talk about this too.
Intelligence editor. He's a guy who historically has been calling all the big ones, all of the big disruptions in our society, in our economy. And Jim, I've heard you be pessimistic. I don't think I've heard a more stern warning than the one you're giving right now.
Well, thanks, Glenn. It's great to be with you. I don't think of myself as a pessimist. I am an analyst, and I just try to be realistic. Right. So if that is kind of bad news, so be it. But I try to have a lot of readers and followers and so forth, and listeners on our show today, and I just try to get it right. But I am looking at The election, of course, everyone is, coming up November 5th, I remind people the election's pretty much over already with the early voting and all that. So we know that, and the drop boxes and the mail-ins. So people understand that, but we'll get to November 5th. I don't think we'll know on November 5th or even that night or early the next day. You've got the usual trouble spots, Philadelphia, Maricopa County. I don't know what's going on in Arizona, but they seem to ship the ballots off to a warehouse. But beyond that, most Americans are not familiar with the actual electoral calendar, so to speak. And it was devised in the late 18th century. People say, well, why does it take from November 5th to January 6th, 2025 to figure things out? Well, back in the 18th century, they got around by horses and carriage and all that, and it just took time. But anyway, when you get past that, let's just say Trump wins. Now, that's not a sure thing. It's going to be a close election, but my models show Trump winning. So he gets more than 270 electoral votes. So we come up to December 17th when they actually count those votes in the state capitals, and there are going to be disputes and litigation. But let's say we make it, I'm just kind of looking ahead as far as we can to January 6, 2025. Now, everyone's spun up about January 6, 2021. We know what happened, but this is January 6, 2025. Those electoral votes go to the House and the Senate. Now, here's the key, and this is why Trump's campaigning in places like New York and California. He's not going to win New York or California, but they're fighting over House seats. Is if the Democrats take a majority of the House of Representatives, which is possible, there are only 4 or 5 vote difference right now, led by Jamie Raskin, they're going to pass a resolution saying that Trump is an insurrectionist under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Now, a lot of people say, wait a second, didn't the Supreme Court throw that out? Not exactly. Colorado and Maine tried to kick Trump off the ballot on that ground. It went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said states cannot do it. So Colorado and Maine couldn't do it, nor could any other state. But they explicitly said the Congress could. And it was a federal issue, exactly. Yeah. So now you pass this resolution, what happens? Trump's votes would be disqualified. Let's say he has 300 electoral votes, and pick a number over 270. Those are disqualified on the grounds that he's an insurrectionist. So then what happens next? Well, now nobody has 270 because in this scenario, Kamala Harris doesn't get 270. Trump does, but he's disqualified. So now the election goes to the House of Representatives. This, by the way, has happened before 1800, 1824, and then 1876. They still can't figure out what happened, but it has happened before. So, but now you flip over from the 14th Amendment to the 12th Amendment. I should let the listeners know I happen to be a lawyer, so I'm enough of a geek to read all this stuff. Now you're in the 12th Amendment, 1804, and what does that say? Well, the House votes to choose the president, but there are a couple of caveats. One is they can only vote for someone who got in the top 3 electoral votes. And this is, back in the days, maybe 3 or 4 people get electoral votes. George Wallace got electoral votes in 1968, top 3. But there's only going to be one. If you disqualify Trump, no one else is going to win a state. And Kamala Harris is the only one you could vote for because top 3, but she would be the top 1 because that's it. Now,
why wouldn't it go to J.D. Vance? Why doesn't he take those?
Well, I think that's what's going to happen, but you have to sort of follow the 12th Amendment is a playbook. I think that's where it will end up. I agree with that, but you have to kind of look at the sequence. Now, in the House, here's the interesting part. There are 435 members, but you don't vote by member. You vote by state delegation. So Texas would get 1 vote. I live in New Hampshire. We'd get 1 vote, the same as Texas. The Republicans control a majority of the state delegations by a bigger margin. They barely control a majority of the House. But when you go by state delegations, it's more like 28-22. The Republicans have a substantial majority. But the problem is you can only vote for Kamala Harris no matter what because nobody else has any electoral votes. The answer then, and the 12th Amendment says this, is for the Republicans, if they have the cojones, to go out and stand on the mall in the snow, and then the House lacks a quorum. And the 12th Amendment says you can't do anything what we're talking about if you don't have a quorum.
Right.
So if you lack a quorum, then what happens? The 12th Amendment says the vice president becomes the acting president. Now, J.D. Vance would not suffer this disqualification, going back to the insurrection. So J.D. Vance would become the acting president of the United States if the House lacks a quorum. And I described this, Glenn. It's all in the 12th Amendment. It's in the 14th Amendment. Some of this has been litigated in years past. It sounds crazy, but just think about what we've been through the last 3 months. Two, maybe 3 assassination attempts, a coup d'etat on Joe Biden, a nominee who didn't get 1 vote in 2 tries, not 1 vote in the primary. And so there's enough craziness to go around. So again, I'm just kind of reading the Constitution and applying it. It has happened before. In 1800, we ended up with Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, who were bitter enemies and opposing parties. But that's what happened. And here you could have Kamala, J.D. Vance, worst case, or J.D. Vance as acting president if the Republicans walk off the floor and they lack a quorum.
So,
That's weird.
This is craziness.
What?
This
is weird.
One of the reasons we are successful, we had cheap energy, don't have that anymore. Well-educated populace, we don't really have that anymore. Cheap labor, we don't have that anymore. And a stable country. If this happens, what happens to the economy?
Well, the stock market, it can. They're both, bull markets and bear markets. It goes up and down. But the one thing the stock market hates is uncertainty.
Right.
What we just described is maximum uncertainty. Because I gave you a scenario. It is laid out in the 12th Amendment, 1804. but you can bet that every step that I described will be litigated in some manner. So, and the courts want nothing to do with this. I mean, you go back to 2020, the New York Times and all these people say, well, there were 15 cases and they were all of them were decided that there was no voter interference and no election fraud. That's not what the court said. The courts dismissed all those cases either on standing, jurisdiction, timeliness. They went to all these procedural things to get rid of the cases, but the actual fraud was never litigated. There's been a lot of forensic examination since then. So, and that's just the court saying, hey, you Congress, state legislature, you guys figure it out. We don't want to be involved in this. They still feel burned by Bush versus Gore in 2000. Having said that, they have a job to do, and I think these things are going to end up in their lap. But if you put the courts to one side and just go by the playbook in the 12th Amendment, and that was based on what happened in 1800, you would end up with J.D. Vance as acting president.
And
that's weird.
Because the Congress can say that he's an insurrectionist, you don't need a trial. I mean, he's never even been charged with insurrection.
Of course, you're right, and I agree completely. But the 13th Amendment hasn't been, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, hasn't been litigated since we had a case last summer with Colorado and Maine, but before that, you have to go back to the 1930s. Even, of course, that came after the Civil War. It was 1868.
Right.
It was designed to disqualify Confederates from federal office, et cetera. Over the years, but Section 3 is the Insurrections Clause, but Section 5 empowers the Congress to make laws to interpret Section 3. They, sometime, I don't know the exact date, sometime in the 1920s, the Congress granted full amnesty to Robert E. Lee and Jefferson Davis. They said they were not insurrectionists. And so there has been legislation and it has been litigated, not in recent decades. But if you're willing to cut Robert E. Lee a break, I don't know why they wouldn't do it for Trump.
Well, they did that. They did that to heal. I mean, that's why we have these statues of Robert E. Lee. The North said, build a statue. These are heroes for you as well. They didn't prosecute these guys because they said we've got to come back together as a nation. Nobody's going to do that this time.
That's exactly right. The bitterness is we're sorry to say that, but it's there. And by the way,
no, we're right, because we're literally at war to save our country. This is the pinnacle of the fight that's been going on for decades.
Leader of this, and he's open about it. I mean, I read the Constitution, did the legal homework, but the guy who says this is what we're going to do is Jamie Raskin, and a member of Congress from Maryland.
But we just heard Jamie Raskin saying the same exact thing on that report from Gary Franchi.
They're worried about election fraud on November 5th. They should be. I think Lara Trump has done a good job of, I think they've mobilized 500 lawyers, and they're on that. And Republicans are finally waking up to the fact that you may not like mail-ins, but you got to do it. But this is much further down the road. This is the end game. This is the final lawfare attack.
Yep, it is. That's what I was just saying. This is the end game, guys. We're in it. We're finally in it. We're waiting to see when it's going to come about, and it's here. It is here. All right, so that's the final piece from Rig Watch tonight. Now we're going to move on to the border crisis and the O'Keefe interview. Coming up right now, as promised. Let's see. Where do I have it? There it is. All right, this is a two-parter. We're going to go about 20 minutes into this interview, I believe. Man, I just wish I had more time. I should have probably just gone with this stuff tonight. There's so much to cover, though. Okay. We're gonna take a little bit of this, and then we gotta get to that Elon town hall, because that's gonna take some time too. I may need to come back tomorrow night and do another show, because there's another piece with well, I could probably save that part till next week. So we'll just say the second part of this I'll save till next week. All right. Let me make sure this is on winning speed. And here we go. James O'Keefe, Undercover at the southern border. You've been waiting for it. Here it is.
And do I plug these in here? Or? Where did I plug it in?
Right here on
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Remember right. Yeah. After the workout videos I used to watch.
Oh, yeah. You're a fan, huh?
Yeah. Yo, fuck out the way.
Creatine is for losers, man.
Remember that one?
Hey, man, you want to build some muscle, man? You come to the right place, man.
This was like 2011 because my mentor, Andrew Breitbart, passed away. And I'm like, I got to start eating right and getting healthy. So,
yeah, me too. This is what, day 10? I lost like 7 pounds.
Oh, yeah?
I'm trying to get back in shape, trying to bring back the gains.
What'd you do? Just cut out the carbs?
Oh, yeah. Just calories, carbs.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. So it's, journalism is there are people doing it.
Like when I think of Project Veritas,
about what you think than to go out in the field and risk reputation like that.
Right. Yeah, like your name has become synonymous. Like when I think of Project Veritas, it was James O'Keefe's show. Yeah. What happened with that?
Yeah, that's a very difficult thing. And what happened was we had broken this massive story about Pfizer.
I saw that story.
And it was, suddenly, and that was the biggest story we ever broke, watched 100 million, a few hundred million times. Suddenly my chief financial officer came to me and he had an emergency about various expenses I took.
It's always the CFOs.
I took the helicopter to go to a meeting because I didn't want to drive 9 hours. So suddenly there was an emergency. So nothing had changed in 10 years.
Right.
I had to raise all these millions of dollars to pay lawyers and pay bills. But suddenly there was an emergency. So they had an emergency board meeting, 6-hour-long meeting. And they tried to get me to lose my temper. I did not lose my temper. And then they effectively terminated me. They said, you're indefinitely suspended without pay. Indefinitely suspended. You're not allowed to even do anything.
It's gone forever.
Gone, fired.
Yeah, right.
This is February 10th. So I just started a new organization and kept doing it. And then they sued me to try to shut me up and shut me down. Injunction. That went to court actually 2 months ago. I defeated it in federal court. I testified, and now they're still suing me. So you can draw your own conclusions, but it was perhaps the most bizarre, thing that anyone's ever seen. It's very unusual for a company to commit suicide and destroy its own brand.
The face,
the CEO, the brand, the chief fundraiser.
You put your neck on the line doing all this undercover stuff. It's like replacing us with a white kid, and his name is Jason.
As they were having this meeting, it was a 6-hour-long, I guess you'd call it struggle session, just trying to get me to lose my cool. The only thing that occurred to me, the number one thing is we had whatever $15 million or whatever it was in the bank. All of that money was raised to pay legal bills. And the only thing I was thinking was, if they do this, I was thinking this in my mind, if they go through with this, it's going to, obviously, they're not going to be able to raise a penny. And they're going to eventually run out of this money because they're going to spend it on payroll. And then I thought, how are we going to be able to afford to pay all the legal bills for all the journalists? Because the legal bills are insane in my line of work. I'm talking like $5 million a year.
Oh man, lawyers are vultures.
Lawyers.
I hate lawyers.
It's always the lawyers.
Right.
People say, oh, find a pro bono lawyer. It's like, find pro bono food. Find pro bono blueberry. The market determines the cost of the thing. No one's gonna work for free. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
I want to speed it up a little bit. Try to. Sorry about the lag here. Let's go.
Room, and I'm like, the only thing I'm thinking, what are we going to do? They got 9 months left cash flow. They're going to run out of funds. No one cared. They just said, escorted out of the building, the facility that I created. And
what happened to white privilege, huh?
and then of course they ran out of money, 10 months later, and fired everybody, and then there was no money to pay lawyers. And then suddenly people, had their hands out and said, we got to pay. So it's just, you can draw your own conclusions about, but that's what happened. And now, things happen. God works in mysterious ways, because I created a new organization called OMG, O'Keefe Media Group. And I've made this movie. It took me a year to make. It's all about the border crisis. And it's a very unusual look at the border crisis in that I actually went to Mexico. I rode the train with all the Venezuelans, illegal immigrants. My buddy Anthony actually did it before me. He got kidnapped by the cartel, but he inspired me to do it. He went with me.
That's Anthony from Muckraker, the documentary that we covered when it first came out, about them taking the trip. So he actually helped O'Keefe with this documentary.
And we filmed the entire journey the illegal immigrants take from Irapuato, Mexico to New York City.
You did something that no man on this earth has ever done. Yeah. And very dangerous. You've taken a lot of cojones. Yeah. How do you, I'm sure like right now you have not had the opportunity to take a step back and realize the accomplishment of what this film stands for.
No, I don't rest on my laurels. I just, the reason why is like when you're in my position, you get DMs. I'm sure you guys get this, but we get it like every 2 minutes. I got a story here. I got a story there. Everyone in this society is like, world's on fire right now, and everybody's got corruption. So every 2 minutes we get another tip, another DM, another signal. You got to come to my school. You got to come here. You got to come there. So for me, it's like a lot of responsibility.
You didn't have time to celebrate.
No time to celebrate. I should celebrate.
Right.
I should do that. We're having a red carpet premiere Tuesday. You guys are invited. You probably can't make it, but out in Los Angeles, we're going to have a Hollywood thing for the movie. But this movie is like the culmination of my life's work. It took me a year. I am the director. I was in that room for 5 months putting it together.
Now, wait a minute. Who's your CFO? He's not going to fire you. You got to watch out for the CFO.
So I'm the CFO.
Oh, okay.
I'm the CFO.
You learn from your past.
There's no board. There's no directors. I am the owner, the 100% owner of OMG. And but the film is a documentary. But documentaries tend to be very like boring, and they preach to you, and they're retrospective. This is like you're in it. You're immersed with the cartel. You see what these people see. I took all politics out of the film. I think this is a humanitarian issues with these children getting trafficked. It's not a political thing.
Yeah, I think you framed it correctly.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're so successful. You come off very, very genuine.
Well, thank you. And I think we have a trailer. I don't know if you have that ready, but I'd love to play that for you guys.
You want to get some fucking sound? I can hear shit. Yeah.
I played this trailer before as well. Let me just say that I've seen this documentary, watched it last night. It's very powerful.
Rainbow colors on your keyboard.
And it has some conclusions on it that I'm going to talk about here in a minute.
We got an unaccompanied minor right here, guys.
Oh, wow.
This is heartbreaking right here.
That's
See the
nuts.
handcuffs? Those criminals are being put with the kids.
It's got several different
They're
parts
putting the
to
criminals
it.
with the kids.
Yeah, they follow these
To
buses
sacrifice your
around.
value system and integrity, to feed your family, make you a bad person.
They're putting blinders on right
They
now to stop us from seeing what's happening.
There seems to be an internal struggle between doing what people perceived as the morally right thing and pursuing their livelihood.
You can't move
Right?
500,000
And
children
all the
in
different
3 years if
organizations
you're
that are
asking a lot of
involved,
questions.
like you wouldn't believe.
Maybe it's all just human nature. Maybe the powers that be know that.
That is
Stop the car. Stop the car. Where are you going? Very upset. They're right there. Get down. We're in the secret facility right now. This is all about.
Yeah.
There's a car right there.
You remember those? Remember, like way back in like 10 years ago, people were pointing out these FEMA camps that they thought they're going to round up Americans and put them in. They were building them for this. That's what you're going to see in this. Is that those Walmarts they turned into, they put up fences around. People were exposing it. Isn't this weird? And they were showing what they were doing. They've been planning this for a long time, and that's what we kind of you're going to find out in this film too. There's a lot of things this film exposes that you wouldn't think, right? You'd think, okay, well, it's just going to be about immigration. No, it's about how it works, and it's a deep dark network of organizations and people that are involved in this, to the point where it's almost overwhelming when you get the information. It's almost overwhelming because if you're solution minded like I am, and I know a lot of you are, right? You're thinking, how can we fix this? How can we stop it? How can we turn this around? Will this be? It almost looks impossible. It really does. It's super, super overwhelming. And the only solution, guys, is to shut the border completely down, shut it down completely, push everybody back out of the country that came in illegally, right? And then go after the organizations that help facilitate it one by one. And you can't open the border back up until it's all done. Like, that's the only way to clean this up. This is the conclusion that I came to from watching this film. I have another conclusion I'm going to get to in a minute, but I'm going to tell you that it is so corrupt to the core. There are so many dirty people involved, and a lot of them are being pressured through financial abuse, right? They're threatening their livelihoods. They're threatening them. They got them pinned in. You're going to hear a theme in this movie that is just doing my job, which is exactly what the guards at Auschwitz said, right? All the Nazi soldiers said, just doing my job, just following orders. Same thing you're going to hear right here. It's the same damn thing, right? And I'm telling you, it's literally so he exposes it and shows the network, and it's so. And we've seen some of this through Muckraker's work, right? Because we've been following this since the beginning, but this film takes it to the next level, and I'll leave it at that and let him continue here for a minute. And they're cutting the wall open.
How much money are you making off of this crisis?
There's one of them. That guy right there. He's running scams too. And then tell you what you find out through this whole thing is that these people, there's a lot of innocent immigrants mixed in with a lot of dirty people, right? And those people, they're all being exploited. And when they get here and they're exploited, guess what they get? They get angry, right? That primes them to start to either fight or fly. And since they're already here, they're going to start fighting. And you got gangs spinning up. Hey, come on with our gang. See, they're trying to, you come with us and everything's going to be all right. We'll exploit these bastards, these people that lied to us, right? And then meanwhile, in the media and the news, are going to point to us saying, oh, they're the ones stopping it all. They won't let us pass these bills that are going to help you guys out. They want to take your money away. You see how it's all working out? People think Civil War is going to be some kind of like North versus South bullshit, right? This is it. It's spinning up right underneath our noses. This is the Civil War, the hot Civil War that's coming. The cold Civil War is a culture war, right? I mean, that's been going on forever. That's in play. That's already happening. People think, oh yeah, so this could be Civil. Tim Pool. Could this be Civil War? Could this be Civil War? Dude, it's already happening. It's been happening. There's two. There's cold and there's hot, right? If he's talking about hot, he's not over the target. This is the hot Civil War that's going to happen if we don't do something about it right now. This election, right here, right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, depending on what happens in November, it depends on the direction we're going to be going.
Every single agent knows deep in his heart what's going on is wrong. I know you're just trying to do your job.
You'll understand when you
We're
see
taking
this.
children, we're then delivering them to people who they don't even know.
What's happening inside that facility? You know what's happening here?
They all protect each other. The
They
NGOs,
follow these kids too.
The federal government.
This is dangerous.
I don't think we can trust anybody.
All these people are standing in the way.
Follow the journey of the immigrants.
Oh, I can't do this, guys.
The journey of the children.
Oh, this is big time.
We're in a cartel tunnel now, dog. They have tunnels. They have tunnels, guys. They have tunnels where they've dug tunnels to shuffle people through. I mean, it's so big. It's so big that they're just talking about the border, and what Trump says isn't hardly sheds a light on what the problem is.
And the journey into human nature. Some things can't be read in a book or a newspaper. They must instead be lived.
There's nobody
Right.
here to stop this. There's nobody.
It's true.
Oh, yeah, where can people see the film?
It's Tucker Carlson's partnering with me, so it's going to be on his platform next week.
Cool. That's
next
a great.
Thursday.
That's a great partner.
Yes.
Yeah, guess what? Here's my second announcement. It's going to be on this channel next week. Screw them, man. I mean, look, it's too important not to be shown to people. And like, here's my problem with what's going on, right? You do this great work and then you silo it, you put it behind a paywall in an echo chamber. That's Tucker Carlson Network. I'm a member. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad place. I'm just saying that everybody there already knows about it. Everybody there already knows the problem. Now they're going to know more about it. What are we supposed to go tell people that have never seen it, who won't listen to us? People have to see this for themselves. They have to see it for themselves. And that's where you're going to come in. That's where I'm going to come in. I'm going to do what James O'Keefe would do. I'm going to take the information out to the people and not let it be hidden. Right. And Tucker Carlson with his millions and millions of dollars can suck it. I mean, I appreciate the fact that he's put money into this. I appreciate the fact that it's a business and he needs to he needs to live his great lifestyle. Right. But you know what? You can't lock this kind of information away right before an election. This film right here, this documentary could change the course of the election if the right people saw it. It could bring that moment of clarity that people need to see. To understand they're being lied to by Kamala Harris, right? They're being lied to by them. They've been lied to for years by the Biden administration, right? That their life is literally at stake, right? That the country's life is literally at stake, that they could be thrown into a hot civil war at any moment by this massive amount of people that are coming over here that are getting screwed over as they come across the border. And then the criminals that are coming along there are here already coming with the idea they're going to exploit us, hurt us, harm us, take what's ours. You can't hide this. I'm sorry. Look, here's how it's going to go down. All right. Next Tuesday, we're doing this. Next Tuesday, we're doing this. I don't care. I don't care. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. In fact, let me just put this up here and show you what I'm talking about. We'll get back to this thing in a minute. See that? Thumbnail's already made. We're doing this next week because this cannot be hidden behind a fucking paywall. It's too important. It needs to reach people. So here's the plan, guys. Here's the plan, right? I'm going to show it on all three platforms. And what's going to happen is right after I'm done, an hour or two, maybe or less, they're going to block the YouTube version of it. I'm then going to edit it out. So we're going to have a little bit of prelude where I explain everything before we start the movie. We're going to show it. We're going to try to get as many people to see it as possible. Put it everywhere. I'll put a very, benign title in it or whatever, so it could be posted. I need you guys that night. I need you to put it every possible place you can put it. You can restream me. I don't give a fuck. As long as people see this is what matters. And it needs to reach people that don't know this. Have people over to the house. Have them come by and say, hey, come on over last night. We're going to watch this thing together. I'll play it for you. All right. I'm going to play it for you. And yes, they're going to come along just like they did with Art of the Surge last week. And they're going to block it and say it's a paywall. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to edit it out on YouTube, but it's still going to be live on Rumble and X. Right. But it's how many people see it that matters. Right. I need everybody to see this. I'm going to call my family. I'm going to call everybody I can and tell them on this night, you need to watch this. Right. I need you to do the same thing. We need to make the, I don't give a fuck about views, clicks, whatever. Have 25 people watching one stream. I don't care. Right. What I would ask you to do is make sure that you're subscribed over on Rumble, at the very least on Rumble, and that you give Rumble views that night so that it gets pushed out in the algorithm. Hit the thumbs up. It matters. But we're going to do this. We're going to show this film. I said I'd wait. It's been out a week and a half. That's enough time for all the people who can afford Tucker Carlson Network payments, right, to see it, right? For all the people who already know this to see it. That's enough time. You got enough time. All right, we're doing this. And you know what? I'm going to make sure that people see this movie that need to see it, that could change their minds. It could open their minds. It could free them from the disinformation they're a slave to right now. They're being abused with, right? We have to do this. I need your help, guys. I need your help. There's 17 people listening to me right now on YouTube, 24 on X, and it's 15 over on Rumble. I need everybody to commit to helping make this project happen. Project Get Line in the Sand Scene, right? That's what we're going to do. Have watch parties. Plan it now. I'm giving you plenty of time to work it out. Do it. All right. We're going to go against the system. We're going to break the goddamn paywall. And I may be running into Tucker Carlson here in a few days, right? And if I do, I'm going to stick it to him about this. I mean, I've never met the guy, but if I happen to run into him, I'm going to stick it to him about this. I'm going to stick it to him. All right. I'm going to be like, how the hell can you sleep at night paywalling this movie, this documentary that people that are outside of your reach and everybody else's reach needs to see? How can you do that? For what? Because you put some money into it? You got plenty of money from Fox News. You got plenty of money from everybody, and people are still going to subscribe to it. Hell, you could have done what the other movie did. God, I can't think of it right now because I'm on a rant. Not Let My People Go. What's the other one, Shelley? The one with the guy the child trafficking movie. The guy went down there and freed the girl and freed her brother. He was the agent. The movie was all about him. No, it's not that one. It's the other one. It's the Sound of Freedom. Yeah, Sound of Freedom model, right? They put it out there for free and said, just donate to us. Just give us some money back. People would give you money back. I just, I lost some respect for Tucker Carlson when he put this behind a paywall. Right now, people need to see this. I'm on a rant. Let's get back to this. Hold on. I can't get back to it right now because my reception's a little spotty. A Magic Radix doing her documentary behind a paywall. Right, for fuck's sake. Right, Sound of Freedom. That's right, Heidi. Yeah, right. I mean, dude, what's the point? What's the point? That to me, that this is you're doing this to make money. Right? I know that's not how you want to look. It's a bad look, Tucker. It's a bad look, man. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Trust me. And people, you know what? Like I said, at the end of this thing, at the end of this movie, some very profound words are spoken by James O'Keefe, which inspired me to go ahead and show his movie for free. I'm going to put it out there. I pay for it already. I mean, it's paid for already. Let's put it that way. And so, we need people to see this. I can go on all night about this.
Y'all got a lot in common.
Yeah. He was fired a month after I was, I think.
Right. Y'all kind of bonded on that one issue.
Well, if he bounced back in a major way, he's probably the most influential guy there is out there.
So are you, brother.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. So
that's amazing. Your doc, it doesn't come off it comes off like a movie. Yeah, a movie. Not only a movie, but it's a reality show, and it's real.
It's real. It's all real. You're gonna watch this, and you're gonna be like, how did he get that on tape? Like, there's this one scene in the film where I come into covering issues like naive. Like I always come into a story like I don't want to have any bias or prejudice. I don't know what's going on.
Be a journalist.
Just be a journalist. Like just factual. It's like I roll up to the California fence an hour east of San Diego, and there's no Border Patrol guys anywhere. It's like there's nothing, and they're just coming through. And then these cartel guys got these big saws, these massive buzz saws, and they're sawing through the steel beam, the
border wall, the
Trump wall. They're sawing through this wall, and I'm hearing it, and I'm smelling it. So we decided to put audio devices on the beams, placed every few hundred yards to record these guys talking to each other. I'd love to hear what they're saying. We do that. So we work all week. This is in April. We're exhausted. We're picking up the audio, no dice. We're not able to capture it because we didn't put it in the right place. And just as we're about to give up, on Friday, I think it was April 17th, we roll up 7 p.m. to retrieve the device, and the cartel is face to face with me with the saw.
Wow!
And this is in the film. And they get scared. They drop the tools. They run back into the bush, and then they say to me, "You got to let us finish working. We got to finish this job. We got to get paid." That's what they said. Now they said it in Spanish. I had to translate it. And while this is all happening, and then they're threatening us to finish the work, there's a Border Patrol agent just a few hundred meters away watching all of it. Just watching.
His hands is tied.
So I go.
No, he's being paid to watch.
That's the issues in the film. That's why we call it line in the sand. So I run up to him. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He just shrugs his shoulders. And a lot of these Border Patrol agents telling me, "Oh, I need to feed my family. I have my pension. I make $130,000 a year." It's like, so you're just doing this for the money? They're like, "Yeah, I just need the money." You don't believe in what you're doing? No, I don't. We just process people. We're no longer law enforcement agencies. So the question in the film, and this is a very deep question, is at what point are you yourself doing evil things when you allow evil, because you do have a choice to stand up, to resign, to at the end of the film, you meet the brave whistleblowers who do stand up, and you contrast what they do with all the cowards. And that's why the film, so the film is about the border, but it's not really about the border. It's about human nature and
the corruption.
The corruption. And you made a good point about, are they paid off? And you start to realize everyone's paid off. Everyone's making money off this.
Everyone's got a price.
Everyone has a price. Not well. You'll meet a couple people in the film who don't, but almost everybody.
Yeah, right.
And
that's because they didn't hear the right price yet.
And most people. So I like to say that I have no price, but most people's price is actually their children's life. So most people's, and rightfully so.
I hope you believe that, because I'm going to
People will
show
do
it.
anything to protect their children. But the problem becomes, what if you have to do evil things to protect your children?
Right.
And that starts to get really complicated.
Right.
And then you have this. So you have this border crisis where everyone's making money, cartel making money, the government's funding it.
Wait a minute. Okay, the government's funding.
Government's funding it. Health and Human Services, people don't realize, is a $1 trillion agency. They fund these centers, these NGOs in Texas, non-government organization that has a budget of Southwest Keys, $1 billion company. The government funds it. They house all the underage kids. So if they take the flow of the children away, they stop the flow of money to the companies that house the children.
Lose their job.
They lose their job. And they said that to me. And all the bus companies, you never heard of them, Damaris, IS4, GS4, just hundreds of companies. And these bus drivers said, well, we need the illegals to keep coming. I said, why? Because without them, we don't have a paycheck. It was actually surprising to me to hear such candor from all of these people. You think that there's some big conspiracy. Listen, there might be. There probably is. But at the end of the day, everyone's got a price. And it's my quest to find people who don't have a price, because that's how we save this country. We find people who don't have a price. And I think they do exist, but they're 1 in a million.
Yeah, they're like you.
Well, I appreciate the compliment.
Don't take that sold to the devil.
I was fired. Like, the most painful thing I've ever been through was being fired from Project Veritas. I've been raided by the feds. I've been jailed. I was on effective house arrest for 3 years in my 20s. That's a whole other story. I've been defamed. I've been sued 30 times. I've been to 3 jury verdicts in 5 years. But I think the betrayal for me is the hardest. It's like you get shot at the front, at the top, from the side, but then you get stabbed in the back.
Right.
People will stick a fork in you the moment they can.
Conservatives that did that to you.
Conservatives. I mean, many of them may not have been, but I don't think it's more like the politics. It's more just
human greed.
You have human greed. You have to be so strong to be on the front line. And the most powerful people in the world will offer every incentive. I don't just mean money. I mean, like, when you're getting tarred and feathered and smeared and attacked, the people around you have to be strong enough to say, that doesn't bother me. And whoever my wife is going to be, she's going to have to be willing to not just visit me in jail, but be in jail with me.
Right.
Okay, who's strong enough to do that? And not many people are. Okay, so these are this movie is, I think it's going to change things.
Yeah.
I think people are going to start going, okay, we're not going to have a country unless we stand up and we stand for something greater than ourselves.
Right. I remember when Trump was in office. What was that guy from Texas? He's I think it was a senator who was running for governor in Texas. What's his name? Beto. Beto. He tweeted a photo of this 2 immigrants who died in Rio Grande, I think, or something, in Texas. And he tweeted a photo blaming those deaths on Trump. And a lot of people don't realize hundreds of people die every year, if not thousands, at the border just trying to come here. And people don't know that. But he used it as a tool to paint Trump as a white supremacist. And like, this is out of the ordinary.
Where is he? Out of business.
I would imagine those deaths have increased because that border's open, and now everybody is willing to do anything.
Out of business.
Yeah, I was, again, credit to Anthony Muckraker.com, this brave young man who actually rode the train
Anthony Muckraker, man,
Ecuador up to Brownsville.
Awesome dude.
He inspired me to do it, and I think that changed me, because I think a lot of these people are trying to get a better life. If I were them, I would probably be doing it. But you shouldn't allow an open border, because that creates that
humanitarian problem.
That creates the problem. You're fueling the crisis. And what Tara Rodas told me, she's a whistleblower in Health and Human Services. She said, I said, well, why aren't they vetting the people they bring these children to? She says, because if you want to move that many children, 500,000 children in 3 years, unaccompanied immigrant children. Wow. She says, you can't be asking questions. You can't be doing any vetting at all for the government to move that fast.
So our government is funding child trafficking.
That's exactly right. And people don't realize our government is funding it. And if you shut down the border, you'll stop that, because these children won't be put into these abusive homes.
Our
government is funding.
It's the only solution. The only solution is 100% shutdown of the border. No excuses, no bullshit, no amnesty, no bullshit. It has to stop. It has to stop. You guys will know when you see this. Well, next week after this movie, there'll be no doubt in your mind that's the only solution. That's the only thing that can happen.
And child trafficking.
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard to take the money away. If you take the money away, then the bus drivers, the NGOs. Here's the crazy thing. The churches are in on it too. And people are telling me, oh, James, don't go after the churches. Don't go after the Christians. No.
Oh, you have to
follow the facts wherever they lead me.
Right. You have to.
The Catholic Charities in California is getting money from the Department of Homeland Security. So they're in on it. I mean,
why they get money? And that money's not even taxed.
Not taxed. Tax deductible churches that, I mean,
they don't pay taxes on that money.
Just blows your mind. In the film, there's a recording we got from the Catholic Church where these guys are like, oh, we're not even Catholic anymore. Like, it's just
they're the money.
They just want the money.
They're in the money business.
It's man, listen, it's all about the money. That's what it is. And it always has been.
Yep.
And people
they
think,
know that.
This is what I've learned in 20 years of being what I do. People think, oh,
You know, they put the economy, make the economy bad, inflation high and everything. Everybody's desperate. Everybody's trying to keep up with their own life. They want a better life. Then it make money an issue, and then throw a bunch of money at these people that are part of this problem.
People go to DC, to Congress to solve problems in the society and do the right thing. No. They pick winners and losers in Congress.
Right.
People think, oh, the border, it's these NGOs trying to help these immigrants get a better life. No. The more immigrants they move, the more money in their pocket.
Right.
And when you got an organization like Southwest Keys with, I don't know how many hundreds of employees they have, at this point, it becomes about self-preservation.
The more they move, the more money they get. Think about that. Like, what is the point of moving people for money? That's where it starts to make perfect sense what they're up to.
And to keep everyone have a job with their salary. I mean, people are making big money.
Right.
The top executives at the child camps make $500,000 a year at least.
What?
Yes. I got the tax returns in the film.
$500,000.
Wow. Okay, say that again. How did you get the tax returns?
I'm good at my job. I published the tax returns in the movie. Let me say this again. Southwest Key, which is an NGO that houses unaccompanied children, has top 5 executives making over $500,000 a year. And well above the federal salary cap. There's $187,000, I believe. There's a cap for federal funding. They're federally funded, and their executives are making $500,000 a year. And they house unaccompanied immigrant children, and they send the children to sponsors. If you don't know what that means, it's they send kids to these places where they get abused and raped and trafficked because they don't vet the people they send the children to. So this is all happening because the border.
And they don't care
in the Catholic Church.
They can't stop to vet them, right? And they don't care because it's about how many they can move, how fast. See how they rigged the game?
Church is involved.
The Catholic Church is involved. The Catholic Church is getting funding from the Department of Homeland Security. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Nope. And you know what? Members of Congress like AOC, who was down at the border crying with those pictures, she know all this is going down.
Well, maybe she does. Maybe she does. I mean, she's got other issues. I don't.
Yeah, she's got some brain issues she's got to deal with.
She probably wants to put me in jail. She put me in the guillotine if she had the power. I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
But this is not a political thing, and maybe
it shouldn't be. It's just a humanitarian crisis.
On some level, we make fun of her, but man, I'd like AOC to watch this film and appeal to her better angels, because I think you can't have a soul if you watch this and you just anybody who has a soul, like you guys watching, you probably should bring some Kleenex.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the film, I mean, every person I've shown the ending of this film to has actually cried. And I think that they've cried because yes, it's hard to see the scenes of the drug children and little girls and drug children. Some of the things are hard to watch. I didn't put it all in the film because I don't, it's hard to watch. There's a couple moments, but I think the reason people are going to cry is because it's like a national cathartic release to see brave people stand up, and it makes you happy that those people exist. It makes you question yourself and why we're here. But if AOC is watching, I would say, appeal to your better angels and do something about these kids.
Yeah.
Every
member of Congress, every member of the Senate. I mean, everybody. They need to watch that. Needs to see it.
Yeah.
I'm glad the way you brought the film. It's not a conservative film. It's a humanitarian film.
No, it's very much. I took all politics out. People try to make me to make a political film. I said, no. I want this to be like a cinema verite, raw. It starts with the cartel threatening me, and then the Border Patrol watching, and then it goes on the journey. If anything, I think it's more of a bleeding heart film, because when I rode the train with the Venezuelans, I thought many of them were nice people. They took me in. Anthony and Taylor, my colleagues, taught this to me. This is very touching. I mean, I'm in this encampment in Mexico with all these Venezuelans, and I gave them Pizza Hut. I fed them.
But you like that?
And I became part of their plan. And then one of the mothers, all they had was a bottle of water, and a bottle of water is like gold to these people. Because I gave them Pizza Hut, they gave me their bottle of water, and then they had nothing. It was very touching. I think it actually changed me. It made me realize the humanity of this, the human element. And little babies, these mothers are holding their babies on their chest, and they're climbing aboard a moving freight train. Now, we're pretty athletic guys. It'd be hard for us to do that.
Right.
You get your legs chopped off, you get your shoelaces in there,
Yeah.
and these mothers have nothing, and they got babies, and they're strapped to their chest. They're climbing aboard this train. I mean, it's in the movie.
Do you show any like death in the movie?
No, I avoid some of that.
Right.
I think it's hard to make
It's hard enough to see what they're going to see.
I think it's hard enough to see what they're going to see. There's a couple scenes of little girls all alone at the wall. So you'll come across just a girl, 10 years old, in the movie.
I saw in your
in the trailer,
that little girl.
just standing there all alone, unaccompanied. And
How scared she must have been.
We talked to her, and where's your dad? Oh, he's in heaven. Where's your mom? Oh, she's back there. Where are your parents? And they're lured here. There's one girl that we came across. They drug the kids. They give them some type of plant in Mexico to sedate them. Obviously, she's seen some gruesome, horrible things. And it's like that movie Sound of Freedom, except this movie, this is reality.
One you should follow the model
this is all
for.
real footage. I didn't hire any actors.
Yeah.
This is real.
Actors running around. Running around with illegals trying to jump on a train. Did any moment in the film that you felt like your life was at risk? Or
I was scared in 2 moments when the cartel guy was like, come talk to me over here alone. And I'm like, I'm not coming. I'm not going over there alone. And there was another moment in Mexico. Again, credit to Anthony, muckraker.com. He did this before I did. But there was this moment where, so we get to Mexico, and I'm scared. This is like the locals told me, what are you doing here? Like, there's a Mexican guy speaks English. He's like, Americans don't come here. You're going to get ransomed. They're going to ransom you for $100,000.
Yeah. I mean, you would stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, I kind of like, I didn't have a disguise, but I wore a bandana and tried to grow a beard. I don't grow a great beard, but I kind of wore raggedy clothes. So maybe I'm Russian or something. But he said, you guys are going to get ransomed. And so on Friday night, we're trying to board this train. I'm with these two guys, my companions, and they had told me about these people with machetes, and they wore like Ninja Turtle costumes, like black, you know, and in the distance we see a figure, and Taylor's like, hide. I'm like, what do you mean hide? So they all like got on the ground and lay on the back, and these people walk by. I'm like, this is nuts. Like, I could get killed. There's no place to hide. You're on a train track, walking down the train tracks, looking for this train to come. And I thought to myself, fuck this. Let's go back to Guadalajara and get a flight. I'm going to use some B-roll of this. I'm going to take some B-roll on the camcorder and call it a day.
Right.
And the next day we waited, and out of nowhere, this train comes in, and the conductor, Ferromax train, says, not this train, speaking in Spanish, not this train, but the one over there. And all of a sudden, all the Venezuelans go running towards this other train, and suddenly we're off to the races. And before we know it, I'm on the top of this train, and it's got the Mexicans call it bolachero, which is little iron balls. And you're laying on a bed of little iron balls. You're covered in grime and grease and dirt. And all of a sudden, I'm going 30 miles an hour on the top of a freight train headed towards the United States. And it's just like filled with adrenaline. And in the movie, we do get detained by the Mexican Army and Mexican National Guard. So to answer your question, when I was detained, they covered the Army covers their faces with the cloth. And one of the Mexicans said in Spanish, this is not good, because usually when they cover their face, they beat the shit out of you. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they going to kill me? Are they going to ransom me? And you'll have to watch the movie to see what happens.
You have to avoid some very dangerous wildlife too, right? Snakes?
No, I didn't come across anything like that.
They dive out there in the desert.
No wildlife, just a lot of dust inhaled.
Oh, okay. Wow. Back to the NGOs.
Key point right here.
I had no idea that our government was funding that. I thought it was all not.
See, that's the thing. It's like people don't understand what's going on with this. They just think it's people coming to the border and being let in. There's so much more to it. It's so much more.
These organizations are non-government organizations. I thought it was all this was located on federal government buildings. This was all by the federal government. I didn't know it was private businesses handling this, being paid.
NGOs, non-government organizations. We go that in depth in the film. In San Diego, we follow the immigrants to this parking lot, and all of these NGOs are there. And we document every one. We recorded them all. They didn't know they were being recorded. All the money they get from the government. People don't even realize it. And the government's funding all of it. And
I guess you can't have it as an official government organization, because that's like treason.
Yeah, non-government organizations, but ironically, they're funded by the government. So they're actually a government organization. I mean, I don't get any funding from the government.
Right.
It's wild.
It's like a legal loophole for the government, so they have to pay for the consequences of what they're doing to these people.
And again, not to go in circles here, but it's just every person I spoke to said, I'm just doing my job, man.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think what you're doing is right? They're like, I got to feed my family, man.
And these people, I'm sure they don't have a security clearance or a background check or
Federal Border Patrol. No.
I'm talking about the NGOs.
The NGOs. No. Well, they
could be drug cartel for all we know.
That's an interesting point. I mean, the NGOs in Texas, they'll say this is a federal compound. The question is it a federal facility, or is it an NGO funded by the government, but itself is not federal? I don't know the answer to that. I snuck into these places. My lawyer said, well, it's a risk. It's federal property, maybe, and it's illegal to sneak into federal property. But we took the risk because we felt the children, it's an important issue.
Right.
We spoke to all the people that work there, and one guy said to me, it's in the film, he goes, yeah, I'm not supposed to tell you this place even exists. What? You're getting funded?
Section 7.
Why all this secrecy? Like, what are you doing such that you need to keep it secret?
Right. It exposes our government.
Yeah, but I mean, it's maybe it isn't surprising to hear. And then the next thing he said was, yeah, it pays really well. I swear to God, he said that. So you won't believe me. You watch the movie. He goes, I'm not supposed to tell you this place exists. It's a secret. Oh, it also is a really high-paying job. You're going to think that I hired someone to play the role of that dude. No. That's a real person.
Sounds like a dumbass.
It's a real person right there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's lineinthe.sandmovie.com. It's on Tucker Carlson Network, premieres next Thursday. We're having a red carpet premiere in LA on Tuesday, and hopefully it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it'll make a huge difference once people that need to see it see it. I mean, it's so great that you're doing all this, but you're doing it in an echo chamber, and we're gonna break the echo chamber. We're gonna break the paywall, right? Everybody's in, right? Everybody's gonna help out. It takes all of us this time. It takes all of us next Tuesday right here. We're doing it. We're breaking the paywall. We're showing this to people that need to see it. We're having people over. We're sending the links to family that needs to see it. Free movie, free. Whatever it takes, get people to watch it, man. Just get people to watch it. I'm telling you, it's that powerful. It will change people's perspective on things.
Well, yeah, I think it will, especially with this election coming up. It's
the red carpet Hollywood. Yeah. Okay. So who went to go see that? People that You think anybody turned some people off from seeing it that needed to see it? I think it did.
People's eyes. I think it's great timing, really. Yeah, it's perfect timing. And
yeah, but nobody has a problem with it being behind a paywall.
it just needs to expose because Kamala's supposed to be the border czar, and it shows why they didn't do anything for the border. Yeah, they got their hand in it.
It does. It shows that.
It just
That's what people
so
need to
much corruption
know.
from our own government. We're trafficking kids. We're funding it. It's almost
funding it.
unbelievable.
It's beyond anything anybody can imagine. I mean, I think that people will be inspired at the end of this movie to step up. I just met with a few border patrol agents this last few days, and I got another guy to come forward. Aaron Becky is his name. He's in Ajo, Arizona. Very brave men out there, and I believe there's going to be dozens of them coming forward when this movie comes out. We just got to have their backs. We got to figure out a way to support them.
Exactly. Why do you think they're doing this to our country? What's the end game here?
That's a good question.
I mean,
what do you think?
I think it's voters, and I think it's tax dollars because they have an agenda for us that we don't know about. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about all the money that's going to these government or non-governmental organizations. They're giving these people tens of thousands of our tax dollars.
It's just for the country.
Housing. I mean, I don't think the American taxpayer really realize what
months and
how
months
the government's
and months
funding
ago.
all of this. Yeah, because they've never done anything like this for their own citizens. We have like veterans that need help. We have homeless people. We don't even treat our own citizens this well. It's like we're being replaced.
Well, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when you have a $1 billion entity,
collapse plan,
and you have lobbyists inside that entity,
let me just give you guys. I don't know if these guys were even doing stuff way back when I was doing it. Maybe O'Keefe was working with Breitbart back in the day. Maybe he knew something about what was going on. I know the Hodgsons they were doing workout videos. But let me fast track you on it. It's to collapse the country, right? It's to collapse the country.
Being whoever the people are there in the government to keep giving the contracts. That's how the skids are greased there.
Right.
And the homeless guy doesn't have a lobbyist. The people don't have a voice. So that's what happens when you have money and power. And when these NGOs, non-government organizations or nonprofits, what happens is you start with a mission. You start with a purpose. Let's help house these children. But when you get bigger, your purpose is just to exist and to keep funding the organization and to make sure everyone has their $500,000 salaries.
They never did it for the right reasons. I disagree. I as Vivek would say, I respectfully disagree. They never did it for the right reasons. Never.
Right. That is the reason why you exist. It eventually becomes a racket. So it starts out as a cause, and it eventually becomes a racket. Catholic Church. Oh yeah, we're Catholic. We believe in God. We believe in Christ. We believe in the Christian mission. And eventually, we need the money from the government to keep lining our pockets.
Right.
That's just what happens.
Right.
So
maybe in some cases, but not. But I think maybe in very few cases they get wrapped up in the bigger corruption that's already existing. Now this is planned out, and it's not just happening here, guys. It's not just happening here. We get, don't be blinded by the fact this is our problem. The all Western countries are going through the same issue they have their own flavor. A lot of countries in Europe, it's about Muslims coming in and taking over, right? Corrupting the system that way. They're using them. We remember when they all rushed their borders way back when they did it. Right now they're all embedded. Now the civil wars are breaking out there. Right now, that's what's going to happen. It's all part of a plan. They're generations ahead of us. They're way ahead of us on the plan. They've been putting things into motion long before people are still waking up and being like, I got it all figured out now. I know they're just doing this and they're doing that, but they don't even have half the information they need to understand the bigger picture of what's going on. Right? They think they got it all figured out because they've read a few articles and they've listened to a few streams. Right? No, I've been doing this for decades now. Right. And this has all been leading up to exactly what Wolfram and Memento Mori are talking about right here in the crowd. This is all what it's been leading up to. Right. And if you want to get to the baseline of it you could say this too, that it's good versus evil. Right. Good versus evil. But at the bottom line, that's energy that drives intentions and ideas, that drives these manifestations of it. And these people that determine that they either pick a side or they fall to a side. Right. What side you're going to be on. People that are here fighting for the side of good, and that is to defeat this evil that's in our world, right? And we don't need anything else than to say that that's where our energy is going. That's what it's towards. And in the end, we have to stand against these kind of things and stop it. Right now, we have an opportunity. Down the road, we won't. We can't fail at any point in the road because they're so far ahead of us. Poland has authorized its border guards to unalive border crossers. That's what it comes to. That's what it comes to. What does the future look like if we don't reform this thing peacefully? Think about that. Think about that. How many people here in the crowd are going to go back and have to join up to fight the enemies within? I'm just here for Jersey winning. Wolf, Ellie, all my nerds. Well, you better get in and join the fight. We need that 357 with us right here.
Is that human nature? I think so. Power doesn't always corrupt.
What's the future going to look like if we don't get this done, right? It's going to look like old guys with military experience going back to work. It's going to look like young guys coming up that, we're hoping that could have a good life getting militarized. That's what it's going to look like, because that's the way it's going to be. It's going to look like this beautiful country we have slowly decaying, becoming polluted and rubbly. That's what it's going to look like.
It tends to. Yeah. So you got to be real vigilant with the leadership of these entities. I mean, look at me. I mean, look at the James O'Keefe, fired from the organization that I founded.
Right.
So, that's kind of mind-blowing, because if it can happen to me, then nobody's safe.
If it can happen to you, if it happens to Tucker, he was the face of Fox.
The face.
When you think of Fox, Project Veritas, we think of you guys.
I mean,
they're so far ahead, they've already corrupted two to three generations ahead. Okay, that's how far ahead they think. Right? I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I've been doing this for a long time. They're way ahead, way ahead. Parallel construction is happening. They've been working this since 1992. That's when they started openly talking about their plans. Agenda 21 came out of the Earth Summit of 1992 in Brazil. Covered it. You should go watch the stream that I did on it.
Tucker was the highest rated show on Fox.
Yes.
So, and maybe too, it's also that the more effective you are, the more over the target you are, the more of a liability it becomes.
Yeah.
In other words, the moment of greatest success.
Because you know what? When you corrupt generationally, you have all the people that are like all these people you'll see in this documentary. When you corrupt generationally, they're standing there going, "Just doing my job," right? They've been corrupted. They've been demoralized. It's demoralization. That's why I keep going back to the Big Intel book. That's why I keep going back to that, because it explains the process and the history of cultural Marxism, which is critical theory, which is ideological subversion. It's all spelled out. It's all there. It's been done before. That's why it's so easy to see. Don't think they're way ahead. They've been doing this for a long time. You don't think that, they've been doing this since the turn of the century, man. It's just that now it's here. It's all the new plans, the optimized technocracy that's coming, right? You can call it a new world order. There's been many new world orders, right? But the one we're dealing with right now is Agenda 2030. It's right in front of our faces. You can go to the website. You can check down the list and see exactly everything they've done. You can see how they do it. You can see the people that they're grooming to be the next generation of people that are going to do it. You can see where the funding comes from. You can see all of it. But people are worried about fucking steering fucking hurricanes, shit they can't control, right? They're worrying about busting up and coming up with new conspiracy theories about bullshit they can't control. That's already been done. Worry about the fucking monster at the gate, the one that's coming for you right now. This is it. And this is the threat that's right here in front of us right here. Is this border crisis and how they're doing it. And then they got a line of corrupted people, a whole line of them that are helping this go down, right? That they demoralize us in these ways that people are willing to accept this and not speak out. And then every now and then somebody comes to a realization and realizes what they're doing is wrong, and they say something. For every one of those people, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are still making it happen, that aren't reachable, that are boxed inside a narrative, Yeah, dude, blame the UN. They're part of it, man. They're going to be the governing body. They're going to be the ones who decide what goes down. Blame the UN. Blame the WEF, the private, public-private, UN public, WEF private. That's how they do it.
Yes. Carries the greatest risk. The moment of greatest achievement carries the greatest risks for you.
Demoralized
because in this business, and this investigative journalism stuff,
that's why
the more effective you are, the worse it is for me.
Right.
It's not like It's not like you give you a pat on the back. They give you a battering ram and guns and shoot at you and jail you.
Yeah. When you do a good job, you go to jail.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So the incentive becomes don't do a good job.
Well, they failed to do what they're supposed to do. Now they're turning into a global government, right? The new thing that is tried to pass. I didn't even get to cover that. I mean, I've been so busy with the elections. I have to circle back to going through what went through the UN and tried to go through the UN with this pandemic treaty, or that's one word for it, right? There's other the Pact for the Future or whatever it's called, right? Everything they're doing at that end, the government layer, where they want to be able to take over in a crisis, and it could be any kind of crisis. Then they get to determine what everybody does. They get to tell us what to do. They get to subvert a constitution, which is in the way. This asshole John Kerry, he was talking to the WEF, but he's also a big UN guy, right? So just ask him. He's part of it. If you guys want bad guys, their faces are out there. You want to look for the The big bads, their faces are out there. They're all out there. Their organization's out there. It ain't hidden. It's right in front of us. The UN was really started by wealthy elites to protect international businesses. Well, that's one way to look at it, or control the world, right? It was never meant to be a governing body. Yeah, right. It never should have been. But that's a veil, right? That's just a wolf in sheep's clothing. pardon the reference there. But I mean, it was just a veil of altruism, right? That they really are underneath of it a bunch of control freak elitists. Yeah, I don't know about that, Count. I don't know about that, dude. You have little faith. You want to elaborate on who the underground is and what it's all about and why I have little faith? Yeah, the UN is the global headquarters. Why would they don't need to hide it, dude. They already have control over everything. They don't need to hide that they're doing it. In fact, if you sat through their boring conference, right, and listen to what they're saying, it's all spelled out. They don't hide it. It's right in front of us. They're confident they can march this in, right? Because they're way ahead of us. Like I said, they're way ahead of us. If you don't know that, you still got some stuff to learn.
Or maybe just be a little effective, not too much. You don't want to like really expose them because you're talking about child trafficking here. If I'm effective at my mission in stopping the child traffickers, then my life's in danger.
Right. I mean, it makes me think, has that ever been the goal when it comes to journalism in this country? Has the goal ever been like what you're doing? I don't think it's ever been the goal.
I think, that's a really good question. I think that you got to go back to like before I was born. Like 60 Minutes, maybe. I don't know if you remember, like way long ago, they used to do the hidden cameras.
Right.
But I think,
what was the name? Jim Henson?
Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
60
Mike
Minutes.
Wallace, yeah.
He's now dead, but they had like muckrakers in the 70s and 80s and early 90s. But the problem that I've seen is the economics of journalism. There is no money in journalism. So the moment you leave your studio and go out in the field and do the work, it's expensive. And then you get sued. And the lawyers cost $500 an hour. So let's say you do everything right. You still have to pay the lawyers $500 an hour, and then you win. So now it's cost you, I don't know, $1 million in legal fees. And your boss is going to go, no, I'm not going to spend $1 million in legal fees on one story.
Yeah.
There's no amount of advertising revenue that you can generate off of one story to make that $1 million worth it. Simple math. So it was decided, I would say it probably ended in the 80s and 90s that people said, we're not going to do this stuff anymore. You got to be insane. Now there's been a little rebirth of it right now. Crowder's doing it. Project Veritas did it. You got a couple groups doing it. But the challenge is going to be for anybody who does this is you have to deal with the liabilities and you have to have a philanthropic heart in that all your profits have got to go back into paying attorneys and the cost of making you're not going to become wealthy off of this.
Right.
I don't think anybody will become wealthy off of this.
Right. So you got to do it out of the goodness of your heart.
You have to have a good heart, which is something that Elon Musk says when he hires people. But I underestimated the importance of, you got to be talented and brave, but you have to have a good heart, and support these guys when they get prosecuted and fired from their companies.
Right.
You got to have their backs. That's the number one rule. And we'll see what happens. The film ends on a very uplifting call to action in that it asks the public, okay, now it's up to you.
Right. Yep, it sure is. You know what? And right now they kind of just have conversations throughout, but I'm going to show you what he's talking about. And if it gets cut out, it gets cut out. All right. But if not, just remember what the title bar says at the bottom. The scroll at the bottom says next Tuesday, full movie. Who gives a? We're gonna do it. All right. So here's what he's talking about at the end of the movie.
Just as we're about to abandon all hope, we discover the most inspirational thing of all. There is a boundary that runs not through the countries, but right through every human heart. Whether we're resigned to be complacent,
No, we're just doing our job.
or surrender to the forces of conformity and compliance,
That's life. That's life.
or whether we're willing to sacrifice it all is a choice, and in some cases a choice by one man who acts as a catalyst for everyone else. Anthony, who calls himself Muckraker.
Right. And he just goes through that. He goes through each person and what they've done. Right. That's what he said. So I'm going to be that man today. Right. I'm going to be that man today. All right. So there you go. Very passionate about this subject. It's so important. I can't even describe to you how important it is. It literally is our future of our children and their children's children. It literally is that. It literally is that. And if you don't think this is a critical time in history, you don't think that the people with billions of dollars and all the control over everything and all the power in this country know what the fuck they're doing, you got some things to learn. I'll leave it at that. All right, so let's get to the final part. We're gonna go long tonight. I appreciate everybody that's been here. A lot of people have been waiting for this. I don't know how long we'll watch it, but I'm sure we'll watch a good amount of it. Let me go ahead and find it. Where is it? It's under this list right here, isn't it? Oh, nope, it's not. That's me. Literally just listening to myself saying the same thing again. All right, this one right here, yes. And I will make sure that this is at winning speed. Elon does talk a little fast, but here we go. Elon town hall. We'll watch it until it doesn't get interesting. All right. All right. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Elon Musk.
It's a video stream. So I'll be able to take questions from as many questions as possible from the audience and as well from people online. But as you can see, I'm obviously here in person. This is me, not a clone of me. And the reason I'm here in person is
Look at me, I'm out in the crowd.
It's so important to the future of the world. So, you know, you show what matters by your actions, not your words. And my actions are: I'm here, I'm in Pennsylvania, and I'm here for a very important reason. Which is.
I know it's late for you. Wolfram, thanks for hanging out.
Is, I think, the linchpin in this election. And this election, I think, is going to decide the fate of America, and along with the fate of America, the fate of Western civilization. So. And I think the things we all want are sensible, I mean, common sense things. We obviously want secure borders. We want safe cities. Sensible spending, so that we don't have crazy inflation. We want freedom of speech. We want the Constitution to be upheld. And I'm being told at times that these are like right-wing values. I'm like, are you insane?
Good night, Wolfram. Thanks for being here, man.
This is literally the fundamental values that made America what it is today. And anyone who's against those things is fundamentally anti-American. And the hell with them.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get busy.
Yeah.
Busy.
I see I'm getting a lot of agreement from everyone in this room. Yeah. So, so I actually lived in Pennsylvania for 3 years, by the way. I'm no stranger to the state. I lived in the city for 3 years. I went to school here. So, so I know the state. Not some, just arrived situation. I've been here. Spent 3 years of my life here.
It's getting
it's a great state. Love it. And yeah, yeah, it was awesome. But the thing is, I was talking to friends of mine who, like when I went to Japan, it was very dangerous at the time. But everyone thought it would get better would get better as the years went on. One of the issues was like students would get killed from time to time, and that was pretty bad, obviously. And I was talking to someone who recently graduated from Penn. They said, actually, it's worse. And I'm like, it's worse? What the hell is going on? It's like, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the reality is that if someone is a violent criminal, where they either are unable to control their violence or they like it, if you do not incarcerate them, they will hurt people. That's what it comes down to. So if you don't put hardened criminals in jail, they will kill people. That's what it comes down to. And that's, unfortunately, the situation we have here is that the Democratic Party will not put hardened criminals in prison. And so they roam free, and they prey upon you, and your kids, and your family, and your friends. This is insane. How can we be the most powerful country in the world, and it's not safe to walk around our cities? What the hell is going on? Yeah. I mean, Soros, honestly, misanthropic. For someone who has, sort of claims to be doing good, but actually he is not. He is tearing down the fabric of society. So terrible. Yeah. But I think it's just unbelievable that you should be able to feel safe walking around American cities. And it's not just, Philadelphia has a challenge. New York has a challenge. Every major city in the U.S. Like my mom lives in New York, for example. 3 of her friends have been assaulted on the street this year. It's like, and it's getting worse. And now, when she
but
takes
crime
her
is
dog for a
down.
walk,
Crime
she
is
has to
down
stay,
though.
inside the building so she can call for help if need be. This is not the future we want. And if we get 4 more years of this, I mean, we're going to be fully Mad Max, And it's like, well, it's nice to watch a Mad Max movie, but we don't want to be in the Mad Max movie, okay? So yeah, and then the whole border thing is just insane. I always want to try to figure out what is the truth of the matter, what's really going on. So on the border situation, it's like, is it real or is it not real? So I went there in person and I just literally live streamed what I saw. And our border looks like World War Z. Okay, it's like zombie apocalypse. It's insane. So this is, if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. Yeah, I mean, we're just saying, like, we have to have real borders. Or if you don't have real borders, you don't have a real country. And obviously, as someone who's an immigrant, I'm pro-immigrant. I just want to make sure that people who come here are going to be assets to society, and that they're going to raise our standard of living. I think the sort of sports team analogy is a good one. So, like, let's say you're a pro sports team, you want to win the championship, then, well, you want aces on your team, obviously, because they help the whole team win. So the same is true for immigration. If we have this sort of equivalent of, like, Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry or LeBron or something like that, they want to join the team. Like, absolutely, of course. Do you like winning? Yeah, okay. But if they can't play basketball, they shouldn't be joining. So that's real important. And and then something that doesn't get a lot of attention is the fact that the federal government is spending America into bankruptcy. Which is crazy. It's sort of and that's really what leads to inflation. Is that when the government spends more than it brings in, that's what causes inflation. Yeah, so it's just a pernicious tax. So there has to be we have to radically reduce the amount of government spending so that we don't rack up a debt that is impossible to repay and drive the country to bankruptcy. I mean, just basic stuff, really, These shouldn't be controversial topics. It's just like normal. Common sense, exactly. And you're seeing all these attacks on freedom of speech, and they're like attacking me for freedom. It's like, that's the First Amendment, like literally the first one. Tells me it's a high priority. And the reason they had the First Amendment was because the countries people came from, if you spoke your mind, you'd be imprisoned or killed. That's why you have it. That's really important. And then the right to bear arms is also really important. That's there to protect, I mean, the Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment. So, as soon as the government can disarm the people, they can do anything they want. And we've seen this in one country after another. They take the guns away from the people, then they do fake elections, and then the people try to protest and they just get shot. That's what happened in Venezuela recently. They had a fake election. Maduro lost, like massively lost, like 70% loss. And he's like, "Oh no, I won." And everyone's like, "Oh, you didn't win." There were big protests on the street. But the thing is that Chavez, when he came to power, took away everyone's guns. So now you're facing, soldiers with assault rifles. Where you're gonna throw some sticks at them or something? Use finger guns? It doesn't work. So Maduro, even though he lost the election, is still in power. And that's the kind of risk that we face. So, but we got to do everything possible to protect the Constitution. And I think this is, yeah. So for all those reasons, that's why after thinking about it hard, it was very clear to me that Donald Trump has to win this election. It really does. Yeah. And so I think the most important thing that you can do, and what I'm asking everyone to do, is make sure that you're registered to vote. that and then vote early, and then talk to your friends and family and everyone you know to make sure that they're registered to vote, because Monday is the deadline for voting registration. And honestly, this is if there's ever a time to be a pest with your friends and family, this is the time. You know, this is the time. Everyone you know, everyone you meet, everyone you run into, register them to vote, and then get them to vote immediately. And we only have until Monday night to register to vote. So the next basically 3 days are essential. And I think we see that this election decided in Pennsylvania by, it could be 10,000 votes, it could be 1,000 votes, it could be 10 votes, it could be some very tiny number. So every incremental person is a huge difference. So, you know, I haven't been politically active before. I'm politically active now because I think the future of America and the future of civilization is at stake. So. Yeah. So, yeah, please go all out registering people. We have 3 days. Let's go. Anything you possibly do. So with that, I'm happy to answer questions or take comments from the audience. And yeah. Thank you.
We'll do one question per person, okay?
Yeah, I have the mic.
Good. All right.
Here. Elon, first of all, welcome to Ridley Township.
Thank you.
Delaware County, and welcome to Ridley School District and their beautiful high school.
Yeah.
Because you made this your first stop, we'd love to make you an honorary Ridley Raider.
Thank you.
I'd like to give you this shirt, football jersey. Sports is big in Ridley, big in Delaware County. This is must 67 counties in Pennsylvania. We got to turn every one of them red.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First question is, what can all of us here, everybody in this auditorium, everybody watching the live stream, what can we do now to make sure we get Donald Trump across the finish line in Pennsylvania and everywhere else in this country?
Yeah, it's fundamentally for the next 3 days, just everyone needs to focus on registering friends, family, acquaintances, everyone you know. Because if you're not registered by Monday, that's why I'm being sort of repetitive about this and really emphasizing this. Anyone not registered by Monday evening, or if they're registered incorrectly, their vote won't count. They won't be able to vote. So we got 3 days. It's all about registration, 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 registration every single day. And like I said, this election could be decided by a handful of people. It could just be that a little bit of extra effort on voter registration decides the entire future of civilization. So that's why I'm saying, man, this is, if there's ever a weekend to spend going hog wild on registration, this is it. Yeah. Well.
Hi, Elon. Thank you so much for being here. It means so much, and I think it's really in line with your character as I've come to know you from listening to you speak in interviews. In addition to voting for Donald Trump, what can the average citizen do to help train AI to be truth-seeking?
Well, I think definitely, publicly pushing to ensure that AI is truth-seeking and is not sort of politically correct, or which means factually incorrect. That's a big deal. Like, just speak out on social media, and certainly complain loudly when other companies attempt to essentially program their AI with a dystopian San Francisco, Berkeley philosophy. And if you want to know where that philosophy leads, just walk around the streets of San Francisco. But be careful, because do not get killed by a violent drug zombie, because they're all over this downtown SF. It's insane. So you can see where does that philosophy lead? And unfortunately, I think a lot of the AIs are being programmed, at least implicitly, with that misanthropic dystopian philosophy. Yeah.
Hi, Elon, right here on your right.
Sorry, with the lights in my eyes and stuff, it's hard to see. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm originally from Malaysia, and I've been here 20 years. I came here legally. I see a lot of immigration and a lot of immigrants who came here legally. They all support Trump, and they want a strong economy. They want, family values and all that. And
Oh, by the way, I came here because my daughter goes to school here. She told me to come over. I used to be really, really active in promoting, Trump campaign 4 years ago, and I got burned out, and I'm so frustrated. And it's all because of the cheating. So what are we going to do with that?
Well, there is, I think, some amount of cheating that takes place. It's hard because they've, when you have mail-in ballots and no sort of proof of citizenship, it becomes almost impossible to prove cheating is the issue. So a lot of people, a lot of people on the Dem side will say there's no cheating, and I'm like, you've made it impossible to actually prove that there's cheating. But statistically, there are some very strange things that happen that are statistically incredibly unlikely. So there's always this sort of question of, like, say, the Dominion voting machines. It is weird that I think they're used in Philadelphia and in Maricopa County, but not in a lot of other places. Doesn't that seem like a heck of a coincidence? So I think we should, in my view, we should only do paper ballots hand counted. That's it. I mean, I'm a technologist. I know a lot about computers, and I'm like, the last thing I would do is trust a computer program, because it's just too easy to hack. It's easy to hack just one line, and it's really difficult to hack paper ballots. So in-person voting with proof of with ID, which, by the way, every country has. I mean, like almost every country that has democratic elections requires in-person voting with voter ID. It's super weird to not have that. I think that's the only way to effectively address fraud. Given that we are today, I think we just need a very big margin of victory. If the margin of victory is big enough, then as I say, it's got to beat the cheat. Yeah. So that's it.
Elon, first off, you're my hero, and I love your sneakers.
Thank you.
So if you do choose to be the head of the Department of Government Efficiency.
Yeah, those.
Yep. What do you think about we stop giving money to other countries such as Israel, Ukraine, and we stop funding forever wars that most likely is going to the deep state anyway?
Yeah. Well, I think in general, the amount of waste that happens with the federal government is really staggering. It's a staggering amount of waste of taxpayer money. And if we're, for any given expenditure, we have to say, well, what does this do for the citizens of America? Right? Like, how is this good for the people of America? It's their money. Like, for some weird reason, a lot of people in the sort of, state or whatever, the politicians, they seem to forget that the money being spent is your money. And if it's not being spent in a way that is beneficial to the American people, it's a misuse of the funds. So, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of money that's being spent where sort of illegals are getting more benefits than citizens. Like, what the heck is that? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Hi, Elon. So as we bring government spending and look inward to our country, I am a government employee. I care about innovation and efficiency. With your vision for a Department of Government Efficiency, what can we do? How can we support you? And also, how can we spotlight the needs of people in North Carolina? The body count is abnormally underreported. What can we do to press on that and to support people within our country?
Sure. Well, I do think that government efficiency is not simply about reducing the size of government, but making sure that there are incentives for excellent work. So if somebody's, whatever you incent will happen. So if you have incentives for excellent work, and by the same token, if someone's not doing excellent work, they're exited. It's just like normal. It's really what happens in a properly functioning company is that you reward, or think of a sports team. The players that are doing well, they get rewarded, and the players that are not doing well, they exit the team. And that should just be how it works. And I think that'll have a profound effect on the effectiveness of government, because whatever you incent will happen. So if the incentives are aligned with saving people in North Carolina, then that's what will happen. But if you have a sort of a failed response to the disasters, to the hurricane disasters, and no one even gets fired, well, okay, what do you expect? No one's going to take action. So people if there's a track record of failure, you have to exit the people who failed. Otherwise, people will look around and say, well, I guess I don't need to do anything because nothing bad happens to you, even if you do a terrible job and people die, which is insane. So.
Hi, Elon. Can you tell us about your trip to Israel?
Yeah. I mean, it was a very moving trip. So, there's, it's been a moving trip. Definitely one of the toughest regions to, like, how do you, what set of actions result in the greater good in Israel? I mean, obviously, you cannot have people who, if they want to slaughter everyone in Israel, you got to stop that. There's no, there's no way. Those people either need to be killed or incarcerated, or they will simply try to kill more Israelis. This is what it amounts to, obviously. And they want to kill Americans too, by the way. And generally, like, Israel is referred to as the little Satan in America. We are the big Satan. That's what the Ayatollah calls us. So, so I think, I think a lot of what's happening there is people are being taught to hate, in Gaza from when they're children. They're taught to hate, and that's really the thing that needs to stop for there to be, long-term peace. Hopefully, is that you just cannot have the kids be taught to hate from the moment they can talk. That's fundamental. So, yeah. So, so I think there's it's kind of a three-step process there, which is, I've mentioned, one has to do the difficult thing, which is to, yes, eliminate Hamas, exactly, and then I think also going forward, anyone who's teaching hatred in Gaza or elsewhere, they need to stop doing that. That can't be acceptable. We have to stop. Kids being taught to hate America in America. So.
Yep, stop cultural Marxism.
And then the third thing that's also very important is that there has to be economic prosperity in Gaza. So this is very difficult. It's like, how do you sort of, after terrible things have been done, you then have to sort of, you have to bring prosperity to Gaza. And that's the thing that will ensure, provided kids are not taught to hate and there's long-term prosperity, I think there will be peace in Gaza. And we see an example of that after World War II, where with Germany and Japan, they were defeated. They obviously did terrible things, but changed the education system. And unlike World War I, we helped rebuild Japan and Germany. The Marshall Plan. Instead of exacting vengeance, America insisted, we're going to help rebuild Germany. We're going to help rebuild Japan. And now they're our allies. And there's been no war ever since.
And I want to say congratulations on the successful redocking of your rocket. Big deal. And I'm going to go.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a great week. We had the Tesla sort of cool autonomous car and robot stuff, which I think is going to be really, really great. I think, who wouldn't want their own personal C-3PO R2-D2? It'd be awesome,
Right.
So I think that we're going to build some awesome, like, helper robots and autonomous cars, and then I mean, this is a good day. Fate is smiling upon us here. Thank you. And we caught the rocket, which is just totally nuts. You see that rocket booster? It's the largest, heaviest flying object ever made, and it just got caught by Megazilla arms. Kind of like Karate Kid, but bigger. Catching the fly with chopsticks.
So
yeah.
My question is, do you think there is a shadow government behind the Biden-Harris administration?
I mean, well, let me put it this way: it's not Biden. We know that for a fact. Okay. The dude's like barely got 2 functional neurons, so it's like, and he just seems to be at the beach a lot, and he's obviously not in charge. So I mean, when the polls started going low on Biden, he was saying, oh, he's staying in the race, but then I guess the real power is that he told him he's not. Like,
so who is it that's behind him? We know Obama, okay, but Obama.
I mean, I'm just as curious as you are. It is. As far as I can determine, there isn't any one sort of puppet master. It's more like there's 1,000 or I don't know, a lot. So, but I mean, I'd like to talk to them to understand more about. Listen, what are your goals, puppet masters? I'm just curious. I mean, maybe I agree with some of them. It's possible, but it's just obvious that Biden's not in charge. It's obvious that Kamala's not in charge. I mean, they just replaced the Biden puppet with the Kamala puppet, very obviously. And so you can tell, like, if the teleprompter stops working, then the puppet breaks. And it's like, oh, the puppet just starts looping because the teleprompter broke. I don't have a teleprompter. I just talk like a normal human. So I mean, yeah, I think it's not, from what I can tell, it's not one puppet master, it's many, but, interesting to see the crossover between the Epstein client list and Kamala's puppet masters.
Ooh, yeah.
I bet there's a lot of names that appear in both lists.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Diddy too.
You put a little higher, so Ben.
Diddy did it.
Elon, my name is Gregory Stenstrom. I'm from here, Delaware County. So, two people who know me. In my hands, you asked earlier if you'd like to go to a hand count. We have 3 federal suits right now. One, because we know for a fact, and we have proof, that the election code in the machines in Dominion and Harlingen Civic are fraudulent here, right here in Delaware County. The Secretary of State for their elections, Jonathan Marks, admitted this in court last week.
Wow, he did?
In court, on a transcript.
I didn't read about that. For some reason,
Well, of course you didn't.
For some reason, the
How many people
the
here know
legacy
me?
media forgot to report about that one.
How many people here know me? Quite a few.
I mean, I usually keep up with these things, and I did not know that.
Well, we're also co-defendants. Leah Hoops and myself, also from Delaware County, we're co-defendants with President Trump and Rudy Giuliani in a defamation suit where we proved over 952 days that there was massive election fraud in 2020. We proved it in court. It's a matter of public record. We also have the proof that the election machines that are currently being used are fraudulent. We have videos right now that I can show you of ballot boxes being stuffed here in Delaware County, Montgomery County, Chester County, and across the state.
Okay.
We have that video. We have submitted this to the federal courts.
That's why they don't want video.
We have a
Videos
SCOTUS
of the
case
ballot
right
boxes here in Georgia.
The SCOTUS case is just simple. It asks the
Surveillance.
DOJ to rescind their policy not to investigate election fraud.
Which seems crazy.
We are being blocked.
Yeah, I mean, this
blocked.
DOJ is doing a great. I don't know. Just take the J out of the name. You know, Department of Injustice.
What I'd like you to do, Elon, is I don't want to take too much time, and I know this is kind of a shock, but we have a book here, Parallel Election. I have a Supreme Court case.
Yeah.
And I have the federal suits here. We've called your people. We've called the people who are supposed to be helping. We have hundreds of people right now ready.
Yeah.
They're out taking videos. They're training poll workers, and we are not getting support from many of the people in the first front rows here. And their pictures, if you want to know who they are in this book.
Well, let's. What I recommend is to post content on the X platform, and then people can argue and say it's right or wrong, but if you have videos or evidence, then post them publicly on social media, and then people can judge for themselves. Exactly. Okay, great, excellent, thank you. But anyway, let's not get contentious. This is I think teamwork makes the dream work here, whatever the situation, I don't want to dissuade anyone from voting. It's very important to vote. Any actions with respect to voting machines and whatnot, we certainly want to put them under intense scrutiny. But it's nonetheless, everyone needs to vote. And like I said, if you leave here with one thing, the goal is to register as many people as possible to vote. That is the goal, and we only have until Monday night. That is the goal. One mission. Bam.
Hi, Elon. Thank you for being here. First, I want to thank you as somebody with a spinal cord injury for being innovative because not many people are. I won't take up the time, but 18,000 people a year are injured. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm hopeful that Neuralink can do a lot, actually, initially providing the ability for anyone who's lost the brain-body connection to be able to interface with their phone and computer faster than a human with working hands, which is, I think, really cool. But down the road, I think it'll be possible to restore a whole body functionality if you have a Neuralink in the motor cortex that then shunts past where the neurons are damaged in the spine. I'm confident that long term you can actually restore people's ability to walk and use their hands.
I appreciate it. I would love to work with you on getting support around here. But
in fact, one of the things that and to be fair, the FDA has been, within the context of the current rules, has been actually quite supportive. They've given us sort of express lane, because they've seen the quality of the work and the sophistication of the technology. They have given us sort of fast track approval, but still our progress is limited by regulatory issues. And that's the same thing that's happening with SpaceX. It's like SpaceX can build a giant rocket faster than the license can be processed by the government, which is insane. So, I should mention, like, one of the most fundamental things about me supporting, and maybe the biggest showstopper of all for me in terms of why I feel Donald Trump must win, is that we have to have sensible regulations. We have so many regulatory. Last time I checked, we have 428 agencies. There's more than an agency a year has been created since since America was a country. It's like we've got almost twice as many agencies as years that America has been a country, which means an agency has been created. There's like sometimes two new agencies per year created, which is just madness. So America is being smothered by overregulation. It's like I call it slow strangulation by overregulation. That's the. Yeah.
I would like to ask about natural gas and lithium. That's kind of what. Pennsylvania is rich of natural resources and fracking gas and lithium, which could benefit not only our state, but our entire country. However, many residents, and I have to be honest, along 350 miles of Pennsylvania, had real challenges like eminent domain and the destruction of water sources, such as what happened with the Mariner East pipeline. How can we ensure that while utilizing these resources, we work closely with local governments and residents without the federal government overreaching and forcing land from homeowners? Effective communication with citizens and their involvement in these decisions is crucial. What role do you see for technology or private industry in making sure that this process is transparent and fair? Because believe you me, lots of people were forced with eminent domain and aquifers poison all across Pennsylvania, including our veterans. And this has been a real problem since 2016. So we want to support our workers and use our gas, but we need to be careful of what we're taking from people who've lived here, families for centuries.
Certainly, I believe in sensible regulation. So what I see happening is that there are all sorts of, there's a mountain of rules that actually don't benefit people, and then there's missing rules that do benefit people. So it's this bizarre Kafkaesque nightmare of regulations where ultimately the good of the people is not served. And we get regulatory delays for things that are fake. Meanwhile, bad things are allowed to happen simply because someone filled out the paperwork and gamed the system. So that's what I mean. It's when I say the Department of Government Efficiency, I mean addressing addressing any issue which is not in the interest of the people. And we do need to at times fight against what large corporations are pushing for, because some of them are very short term. And some large corporations do bad things. Corporations are like people. Like some people are good people. It's like, some corporations are good, some are sort of middling, and sometimes some corporations are bad. And it's just like people, is the way to think of corporations. So we've got to stop the corporations that want to do bad things, make sure they're doing things that are in the interest of the people. And then corporations that want to do good things, they shouldn't be slowed down by smothering regulation. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think these things should be done very much in the open so people can understand what's going on and nothing, in the shadows. So sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Hey, Elon, how are you? I'm Rob. These are two tough acts to follow here, but my question is a little more simple. What are some of the first courses of action you plan to take as the head of government efficiency if Trump gets elected? And do you have any areas of concern in particular?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I definitely, the focus right now is making sure that Trump wins the election. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. And I think if Trump loses, we're going to see, our cities are going to get less safe. The border's obviously going to be wide open. We're going to see government spending go ballistic. It's inflation go nuts. It's going to be just bad on every level. And fundamentally, if the current trend of strangulation by overregulation is not turned around, we'll never get to Mars. It just will be illegal. And then we'll be a one-planet civilization. There won't be a space-faring civilization, and Starfield will never be real. And I want Starfield to be real. Yeah. So, I've had quite a bit of interaction with the government, because SpaceX is the biggest NASA contractor, actually. There's a lot of work for NASA. And I'm a big fan of the agency, by the way. But there's there are expenditures that don't make a lot of sense, that are wasteful, and we need to put a stop to that. Honestly, there's so much government waste that's going on that I would call it a target-rich environment. Like it's hard, like in every direction. There's this just mad waste, and I think simply if people simply know that, well, if they waste a ton of taxpayer money, they're going to get fired. that will immediately improve the situation. Immediately. It's like, yeah, it's just literally, and I think actually it's going to be both carrot and stick. It's like, so if a government official is very effective in spending your money, because taxpayer money is your money. If they're effective in spending your money, they should be promoted. They should be rewarded. And if they waste your money or do something that's basically corruption, they should be fired. Obviously, you know, they have a duty to spend your money well. Yeah.
Hey, Elon. As a veteran who was deployed because of a lie that was told 21 years ago.
A lot of lies, man.
Okay.
Just a lot of lies.
So with Harrison Wallace running on a campaign to make disinformation illegal.
Yeah, disinformation just means information they don't like.
So what would you say?
Yeah.
So what would you say to an administration and a candidacy that is spreading lies or disinformation about the troops that are currently in combat, my friends?
Yeah, can you believe that was
said? And Hunter Biden's laptop president's decline and so on.
Yeah, I mean, during the Trump-Kamala debate, she said there was no active duty soldiers out there. I'm like, I know a whole bunch of them. What are you talking about? That's a shameful, terrible lie. And she wasn't even fact-checked. And I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I just like to say, for the people, for the Americans out there who are serving in dangerous places right now, unlike what Kamala said, thank you for your service to the country.
Elon, thank you for stepping up to help America when you don't have to. Like you could be on an island.
Yeah. Yeah. I could be, yeah, I have a lot of jobs. No, it's true. I mean, there are, a lot of people I know who are on a yacht, sipping a Mai Tai, whatever, in an island, that is a thing I could be doing. But I think I can't do that if I think the future of civilization is at stake, which I do.
My question for you, I guess. One, do you know Alberto Cangawala? He's the system manager for Europa Clipper.
Oh,
which you
sent, that's a cool mission, by the way.
Which you sent into space on Monday.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. In fact, that was a mission where I talked to the SpaceX team. It's like, every mission's important, but this mission's extra important. Yeah, because I'm like, I think like you, like I think most people, I want a future where you look forward to it and you're excited about what's going to happen. That we're going to learn new things. That it's going to be better than the past. In a future where we're a spacefaring civilization and we're out there among the stars, where Star Trek is real. That's exciting. I mean, they have to be like, life can't just be about solving one problem after another. There have to be things that inspire you, that move your heart.
Hi, Elon.
Yeah, that's a hard one to build, but at some point we should build a warp drive. But even without the warp drive, the Starship, the rocket made by SpaceX, is capable of building a city on Mars and a city on the Moon. That's what it's designed to do. But we're being massively slowed down by regulatory molasses. I mean, I'll tell you like a crazy thing. Like we got fined $140,000 by the EPA for dumping fresh water on the ground, drinking water. It's crazy. Like I've seen an example of just how crazy it is. And we're like, well, we're using water to cool the launch pad during launch. We're going to cool the launch pads, it doesn't overheat. And in an excess of caution, we actually brought in drinking water, so clean, super clean water. And the FAA said, no, you have to pay a $140,000 fine. And we're like, but we let Starbase is in a tropical thunderstorm area. Sky water falls all the time. That is the same as the water that we used. It's lots of sky water. So, and it's like, we didn't actually, there's no harm to anything. And they said, yeah, we didn't have a permit. We're like, you need a permit for fresh water? Are you, what? Yeah, it's just totally crazy stuff like that. And then they said, if we don't pay the fine, they're not going to process any of our future applications. So they're like, this is the kind of crazy stuff we're dealing with. Yeah. So.
Hi, Elon. My name is Sarah. I'm from Philadelphia. I have a whole team here.
First of all, I'm really excited about your recapping of this rockets and your Hyperloop program. We actually, at this critical moment, have a proposal to turn the blue states red quickly. I would like to sincerely to accept our protocol. The proposal. We want to have some further discussion with you, and really thank you for putting everything you have, risking everything you have to support President Trump to take our country back.
Well, thank you. Sure. Thanks. Hey. All right. Right. All right. Sounds good. All right. So, yeah. Well, I'll take a few more questions and then wrap it up. Yeah. So go ahead.
Elon, hi. My name's Kevin, and I grew up right in Springfield, close by. And I want to thank you for all you've given up. You were the media darling, and you've sacrificed everything for freedom right now. And I want to thank you for my family and everything. Yeah. I also want to thank you. I want to thank you for all the lives that have been saved with your full self-driving, and all the future lives will be saved with that. That is one of the greatest things you've pulled off. So thank you. I use that every day.
You're most welcome. Yeah, I think it will save many lives and many serious injuries, and also give people their time back, so they can just be in their car and do whatever they want and watch movies or whatever they want to do. It'll be great.
I absolutely agree. My question for you is, and this is a very confusing thing in Pennsylvania, do you think that we should, as a voter, vote in person, wait until voting day to vote in person, or do a mail-in ballot right now?
I think you should you should vote immediately right now. Yes.
Can you explain real quick why?
Should you have a pen? I don't know if somebody have a pen or something.
Adorable. Adorable.
All right, nice to meet you. All right. Yeah, so where were we? Oh, yes. Vote, yes. Register and vote early. Yeah, I would say vote immediately. So, yeah, you're welcome. All right, well, I'll take one more question and then we'll pull a wrap.
Yeah, okay. This is Matt here. This is Matt from East West IT Services here. And I'm the chairman for the Pennsylvania Chinese Coalition. We have more than 40 Chinese groups and also different kinds of association. And I'm from Philadelphia. We are the team, and I want to know, could you give us Pennsylvania swing state, especially Philadelphia, there's a lot of Democrats. So could you give us three top reasons why people should vote for Donald Trump?
Sure. Well, the reasons that resonate are going to be different depending on who you're talking to. But I think the ones that resonate for me at least are, we want safer cities, we want a secure border, we want sensible government spending, we want support of the Constitution and the right, freedom of speech, right to bear arms, and that's what Donald Trump is going to do. So, and the other thing I think is maybe a concern is that I think if there's 4 more years of sort of the Kamala sort of puppet regime, they're actually going to legalize so many illegals in the swing states that there won't be swing states anymore, and this will be the last election in that case, and we'll be a permanent one-party state like California. And in California, they recently, in California, which is mind-blowing, they passed a law banning voter ID. for any election in California whatsoever. Now they're going to try to do that nationwide. In fact, if they can, they will do it nationwide. If the Dems win, they'll ban voter ID nationwide. So that's why I think if Trump doesn't win, this is the last election. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Even administrative password, according to certain lawsuits, was being shared all over the place. You can see they passed a hand count rule.
Hang on 1 second, guys. All right, there you go. Hey, it's the first time I've watched a whole Elon Musk town hall before. How about you guys? A lot of talk about relationships going on out here. So I don't know about Hyperloop. Seems kind of honky to me. I'm not sure it would work. Yep. So how many people are going to vote early? I guess I'm gonna go vote early. Seems to be important. I kind of agree with Heidi. I know Heidi has said in the past that don't want to give them too much to know how to cheat, what numbers they need. I don't know. I kind of agree with that. That's kind of my strategy too, is to don't show your hand till you got to play it. But at the same time, with all the forecasting they're doing about polls and what they're going to try to pull on the day of voting, and hopefully we got, there's lawyers ready. We got poll watchers. I mean, I volunteered. Still haven't heard anything back about it. So I hope they're serious about it, or I hope they have enough people. If you could do any of that, add to it. Add to this really important election right now. We need people that are based, that are out there, that know what's going on. Smart people like everybody in my crowd understand what's going on. If you're out there on Rumble, please hit thumbs up, man. It really helps out a lot. Please subscribe, follow. I got lots of good stuff coming up here. And we're going to be doing full election coverage on election night as well. Hopefully it'll mean something. Hopefully we'll get a result that night, even though they're telling us that we won't, but maybe that won't be the case. I'm not going to buy into that. And my whole life, except for 2020, we've gotten the results that night. So I'm hoping that 2020 was a fluke. But anyways, just a reminder, next Tuesday, October 22nd, be here. Line up people to watch the showing of Line in the Sand with you. It's important. Try to find a way to get people that wouldn't normally see something like this to see it. And the plan. The plan is we play it on all three networks, or all three platforms, and then this one will obviously probably be edited at some point and not have the full showing of it. But no matter where you see it. No matter where it is, make sure people watch it. We're going to make sure that this gets outside of the people who already know it's a problem and reaches some people that don't know it's a problem, right? And maybe we can get some votes that way. I think I'm telling you, I've seen it. Shelly's seen it. It's so powerful that it has the ability to bring about that moment of clarity that will change someone's opinion in mind and change their vote in within a matter of hours. I'm telling you, it's that powerful. When your brain processes the depth of this problem and what it means and what it could mean down the road, if we don't do something about it right now, anybody who has any sense of survival instinct, it will kick in, even if they're the soundest sleeper. I guarantee you that. So I'm going to do what I can to make sure that it's seen by many, many, many people as best I can. And we'll take it from there. So you guys, from there till now, from now till then, you have that time to think about your strategy and how you're going to help out in this cause. I don't ask much from anybody, but I'm telling you, this is an opportunity. This is the opportunity. If you want to do something on my Online Warriors, Online Life, Everstream Life, people, this is your chance. You can make a difference with this one stream. And I tell you, again, show it on your site, show it in a Discord, show it anywhere. I don't care about the clicks and the views. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is people get to see this, that need to see it, that maybe wouldn't normally see it. That's what counts. That's what matters. That's what's going to make a difference in this world. And that's what hopefully is going to head off a very dark future. I don't want to have to think about my son or your sons and daughters or anybody else gearing up to have to go fight a war on our own in our own country in order to survive, in order to get the supply chain running again, whatever. There's so many different things you can think about it, how bad this could turn out for us if we don't do something now, right? And we got a lot of young people coming up in this world, and I don't want to put them in that position. I know you don't either. So it's up to us to prevent it from happening. So this is how we do it. All right, guys, it's been a long stream tonight. We're coming up on 4 hours. I really do appreciate each and every one of you being here, and especially all you who support the channel, who's mostly everybody that's here. At least ever in the YouTube side, hang out with me and Jacob Castro over there on the Rumble side, holding it down with those 9 other people that are over there. Again, guys, please hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe over on Rumble. We're at 518. That's the highest we've ever been. We're heading towards 600. We're going to get there really soon, I promise you. And you can be part of it. Be part of solution culture. Be part of this thing we call winning reality, because we're not going to lose our reality to a bunch of evil people. There he is, Jacob Castro. Right? And good news here on this end. Let me make sure it's still true. Yes, we're at the highest count on YouTube we've ever been at 4624. 4624. It's the highest number ever. Congratulations, we've done it. And thank you to all the new subscribers that are out there that joined. Man, you guys are awesome. I can't wait to get to know you better. Let's see, do I know any? Did any of you guys let's see, it's date. Yeah, so we got some new people. None of it shows who they are, but that's fine. Because you can if someone says show what the channels that I'm subscribed to, you can actually see them. Like Kim's Creation does. You can see that. That way I can subscribe back. Bonnie's is somebody that's new. JM Unleashed. Man, that JM Unleashed has a lot of subscribers. We're about dead even. They just joined as well. So I'm so happy you guys are all part and supporting the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, look at that. In the last second, we got a little bit of this to go out on.
It's cold. Up good, warm, enough. It has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's cold. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. Gonna try that without amazing thing.
5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Talking Trash and Truths. Who got these great memberships from you? Ashley shows up. Ashley, show up. Say thank you to Shelly. Weird Debbie M. Haven't seen Weird Debbie in a while. Hope she comes back. Toe Beans. That's a new one. I haven't seen that before. Darth Kitty. Any relation to Darth Hideous? I don't know. And Veronica. Welcome all of you guys. Thanks, Shelly, for the great gift of memberships. Hope to see you guys around. Please come join the conversation. We're a great crowd here. You will enjoy it. Most people that show up and hang out with us end up staying. So thank you so much, Shelly, and thank you to each and every one of you out there. And thank you for supporting Winning with memberships. Absolutely. Oh, JM is subbed to me for a long time. Yeah, JM Unleashed. Yeah. Let me make sure I'm subbed up to them as well, because that's the way we do it. We got to support each other in every way, shape, and form. Guys, it's been a long night. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm going to get on out of here and give you the rest of the evening back. I will see you very soon. Is it Thursday? So I guess if I don't decide to do a pop-up stream tomorrow afternoon or something like that, because I feel like there's some, maybe I'm going to run through my content and see if there's anything I didn't get to cover tonight fully that I need to cover. But if not, I'll see you Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for Winning Saturday Night for the good news of the week and funny, cool videos as well. And also Winning Suno, a new segment where you get to hear my very own written songs from the past, put the new music. I'll do a couple of those a week. So join in for that. And I will see you then. And until that time, everybody out there, stay based, get active, vote. Make sure people come and watch Line in the Sand with us. It keeps getting longer. And keep on winning.
From the wackos on the left to the MAGAs on the right, they know I'm beating Kamala. This race won't even be tied. Her policies are nutso. She's out her goddamn mind. She just repeats the same thing, regurgitating her lines. She thinks that immigration without paperwork is good. Clearly not too much power underneath Kamala's hood. Borders are, it's what you are. Borders are, cackling Kamala, you're dumb. Mass inflation imminent if she weasels herself in. If that don't sound like fun to you, then you better help me win. I promise I'll secure you, you'll be in better hands. It'd be a flippin' free-for-all with what Kamala plans. Borders are, it's what you are.